Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Well, this is that day that occurs only once every 4 years, and on this Leap Day edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, a mixed bag of shows featuring Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, The Lives of Harry Lime starring Orson Welles, George Burns and Gracie Allen, and Lon Clark as Nick Carter, private detective, and an episode of X-1. That's all straight ahead. On this Thursday, this is the 29th day of February. This date only occurs once every 4 years in leap years, and it won't occur again for another 4 years, which will be 2028. Let's see. This is, we do have 306 days remaining until the end of this year. This is also known as Bisextial Day. Now, in 1504, Christopher Columbus used his knowledge of a lunar eclipse that night to convince Native Americans to provide him with supplies. In 1704, French forces and Native Americans staged a raid on Deerfield, Massachusetts, killing 100 men, women, and children. In 1864, Kilpatrick Dolan raid failed. Plans to free 15,000 Union soldiers being held near Richmond, Virginia, were thwarted. St. Petersburg, Florida, incorporated on this date in 1892. In South Carolina, on this date in 1916, the minimum working age for factory, mill, and mine workers was raised from 12 to 14 years. Now, in 1932, Time magazine featured eccentric American politician William Alfalfa Murray on its cover after Murray stated his intention to run for president. 1936, Baby Snooks, played by Fanny Brice, debuted on the radio program The Ziegfeld Follies on the Air, and in 1940, for her role as Mammy in Gone with the Wind, Hattie McDaniel became the first African-American to win an Academy Award. As much grief as Gone with the Wind has gotten for its portrayal of African Americans, you have to admit that it turned out good for Hattie McDaniel. Now, in a ceremony held in Berkeley on this date in 1940 because of the war, physicist Ernest Lawrence received his 1939 Nobel Prize in Physics. Now, in 1944, the Admiralty Islands invaded in the American General Douglas MacArthur-led Operation Brewer. In 1956, President Eisenhower announced he was running for a second term. In 1960, in Sydney, Australia, swimmer Don Fraser set a new world record in the 100-meter freestyle swimming competition of 58.9 seconds. In 1972, South Korea withdrew 11,000 of its 48,000 troops from Vietnam. In 1972, Hank Aaron became the first player in the history of Major League Baseball to sign a contract in the six figures. In fact, it was $200,000. Outrageous at the time. Accounting for inflation, that'd be over $1.5 million, almost $1.5 million today. 1984, Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau announced he would retire as soon as the Liberal Party could elect another leader. 1988, South African Archbishop Desmond Tutu arrested along with 100 clergymen during a 5-day anti-apartheid demonstration in Cape Town, South Africa. In 1996, novelist Joan Collins was awarded a $1 million judgment from Random House for breach of contract. Can you believe in the 28 years since then that's doubled? It would be almost $2 million today. 2004, Jean-Baptiste Aristide resigned as president of Haiti following the popular rebel uprising. 2008, the UK Ministry of Defense decided to withdraw Prince Harry from a tour of Afghanistan immediately after a leak to his deployment being reported by foreign media. Misha Defonska admitted to fabricating her memoir on this date in 2008. Misha, a memoir of the Holocaust years in which she claimed to have lived with a pack of wolves in the woods during the Holocaust. And in 2012, Tokyo Skytree construction was completed, the tallest tower in the world, 634 meters high, second tallest man-made structure on Earth, next to Burj Khalifa. Passing away on this date in history, Sam Wainwright in It's a Wonderful Life, Frank Albertson, also artist Dennis Danell, playwright Jerome Lawrence, and Davy Jones of the Monkees. Now, among the leaplings born on this date in history, Pope Paul III, also William A. Wellman, the film director, also band leader Jimmy Dorsey, born on this date.
The hits of the 50s, 1957.
Composed in 1937, became a number 2 hit for Jimmy Dorsey, and in fact, it was the highest charting big band record in the first decade of rock and roll. I have to tell you, it's still a delightful song today. Jimmy Dorsey, born on this date back in 1904. Also, baseball player Pepper Martin, actor Arthur Franz, actor James Mitchell, actress Phyllis Frelick, actor Dennis Farina, and Dinah Shore's a leapling.
See the USA in your Chevrolet. America's asking you to call. Drive your Chevrolet through the USA. America's the greatest land of all. On a highway or a road along a levee, performance is sweeter, nothing can beat her. Life is completer in a Chevy. So make a date today to see the USA. See it in your Chevrolet.
Traveling east, traveling west, wherever you go, Chevy service is best. Southward or north, near place or far, there's a Chevrolet dealer for your Chevrolet car.
See the USA in your Chevrolet. The Rockies way out west are calling you. Drive your Chevrolet through the USA, where fields of golden wheat fast and review. Whether traveling light or with a load that's heavy, performance is sweeter, nothing can beat her. Life is completer in a Chevy. So make a date today to see the USA and see it in your Chevrolet.
That jingle first used in 1949, sung by Peter Lynn Hayes and Mary Healy, but it's mostly associated with Dinah Shore, who began singing it in 1952, and I believe it was a monthly show that they did, the Chevy Show with Dinah Shore. Dinah Shore, born on this date in history, not only a singer, but also a talk show host in later years.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
Among leaplings who were born on this date, Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker, actress Wendy Peters, General Hospital's Antonio Sabato Jr., rapper J. Rule, and actress Caitlin E.J. Myers. Robbins, 64, Wendy Peters, 56, Sabato, 52, rapper J. Rule is 47, and Caitlin E.J. Myers, 32. Those just a few of the people who celebrate this leap day. 29th day of February is their birthday. If this is your birthday...
Hi, we're the 4 freshmen, and we just want to say... Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
And we'll get started with this Leap Day edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox in just a moment for this Thursday, with an episode of The Martin and Lewis Show from 72 years ago, February 29th, 1952. This is Classic Radio Theater with me, Wyatt Cox.
Everyone who works for a living knows that illness or injury may keep them from earning a living. Today, more than 9 out of 10 American workers are covered by Social Security, and each one should know that if he becomes severely disabled, he and his family may be eligible for monthly Social Security disability payments. More than 1 million people are now receiving benefits each month under this program. For more information about Social Security disability benefits, write to Social Security, Department 15, Hollywood 28, California, and ask for a free copy of Booklet 29 called If You Become Disabled.
I know we're just getting started on this Leap Day edition of the program. Let's get up to Friday. Tomorrow we'll have episodes of Dragnet, Barry Craig Confidential Investigator, a suspense episode from 1955, The Screaming Woman, also another episode of Quiet Please. You seem to enjoy that. And an episode of Captain Midnight. That'll all be coming up tomorrow. But right now, let's get going on this Leap Day Thursday edition of the show with an episode of the Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis Show. This episode goes back 72 years to February 29th, 1952, and their guest star is Tony Curtis.
Transcribed.
From Hollywood, we present the Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis Show. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis are brought to you by Chesterfield. Chesterfields are much milder, and from the report of a well-known research organization, Chesterfield leaves no unpleasant aftertaste. By Anacin for fast relief from pain of headache, neuritis, and neuralgia. By Dentine, the gum with breathtaking flavor. And by Beeman's Pepsin, the gum that's great to chew and good for your digestion, too. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our master of ceremonies, Dean Martin.
Hi, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Well, it seems impossible, but here we are, face to face with Friday again, with all the old familiar elements on hand. In fact, there's only one link missing, and that's my partner, Jerry Lewis. So, while we're waiting for the missing link, let's take a quick trip to the San Fernando Valley. Ricardo, let's go with this ting. I'm packing my grip, and I'm leaving today. 'Cause I'm taking a trip California way. I'm gonna settle down and never more roam. Make the San Fernando Valley my home. I'm forgetting my sin and I'm making new friends where the West begins and the sunset ends. 'Cause I've decided where yours truly ought to be. It's a San Fernando Valley for me. But I think that I'm safe in stating she will be waiting when my lonely journey's done. Kindly old Reverend Thomas, he kind of made us a promise he would make the two of us one. So I'm hitting the trail to the cow country. You can forward the mail, care of RFD. I'm gonna settle down and never roam. Make the San Fernando Valley, make the San Fernando Valley, make the San Fernando Valley my home. much. Very wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I just want to say...
I'm packing my birds. I'm packing my wheel.
Well, here he is, folks, the one and only Jerry Lewis.
How can something that looks so good on paper sound so bad when you say it?
Why, you wouldn't have had this trouble, Jerry, if you showed up at rehearsal. Now, where were you?
Oh, I went to see the Las Vegas story, that new picture with Victor Russell and Jane Mature.
Now, you know you mean Victor Mature and Jane Russell.
Well, maybe that Victor ain't Russell, but don't try and tell me that Jane ain't mature.
All right, Jerry. Just keep it up, Jerry. Keep it up. Nothing you can say will aggravate me tonight. I made up my mind. No more arguments. I refuse to fight with you.
You mean you ain't gonna yell at me?
That's right.
No matter what I do?
Uh-huh.
No matter what I say?
Yep. What is it, Jerry? What's the matter?
The chance of a lifetime comes along, and I ain't got one nasty thing to say.
Oh, don't be silly, Jerry. You can think of something nasty. Come on, think.
You mean like Dean Martin is the man of whom Bing Crosby once said, "Who's he?"
See? I told you can do it. Go ahead. Go, man. Go. I told you. Go.
Right,
go.
Yeah, all right.
You can do it. Go ahead.
Yeah, all right.
Some more.
Yeah,
go.
like Dean Martin never really had his nose fixed. He just got tired of wearing two of them.
Good. That's real good. Good. Now, Jerry, you see, take a look at me. Nothing makes me mad anymore. The other day I ran into an idiot automobile mechanic, and if he didn't get me mad, no one will.
You told me about that. Hey, why don't we tell the audience about it? I'll play like I'm the crazy mechanic.
All righty. Well, folks, it all started when I was driving my little car up Sunset Boulevard. And I didn't notice it at first, but then gradually, very quietly, I began to hear the faintest little knock in my engine. I pulled into the first gas station I could find, going as easy as I could. Hey, let's have some service over here.
Sure thing, buddy. You want me to inspect your butterfly valve, clevis pin, and gimbal joint?
Inspect my clevis pin and gimbal joint? Oh, no, look. I seem to have a knock in my engine.
Let me hear it. Start her up.
Now, that's funny. I don't hear it now. I wonder why it doesn't knock.
Maybe it's going for gin. Uh-oh. There it is. Yes, sirree, Bob. I wish my girl was here.
Why?
Listen, it's playing our tune.
You know something? I find you completely obnoxious.
Watch your language, fella. There happens to be a ladies' washroom on the premise.
You know, I'll bet you never worked on a car before.
Yeah, well, I'll never forget the first car I fixed. First, I had to remove the transmission cover, see? Next, I took out the shifter shafts and fork. Then I let the Reenie Rick drop to the bottom of the loop. Quick as a flash, I pinched the prongs on the main drive gear, loosened the universal prong pellets, and turned screw, twist, and they wait. I found what was wrong with that car, buddy.
Good heavens, what was it?
A flat tire.
Flat tire. Well, I've had enough of this, stupid. Are you going to fix my car, aren't you?
Not me. I don't work on these foreign cars.
But this is an Italian sports car. You can tell by the seat covers.
Good heavens, they're made out of grated cheese.
They are not.
And that's not a canvas top, it's a pizza.
Will you listen to...
Tell the truth. Is that a floor mat or a large ravioli?
Hey! Now, supposing you fill my tank and let me get out of here. You do have gas, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's from the ravioli.
Well, I've had just about enough of this. I'm going to get out of here, but fast.
Wait a sec, mister! Come back! How do you like that? The darn fool forgot his car.
Ladies and gentlemen, if the recent Federal Trade Commission decision has made you wonder about the contents of your cigarette, you can be glad if you're smoking Chesterfield.
Chesterfield gives you scientific facts and names its ingredients. Chesterfield uses tobaccos pre-tested by laboratory instruments for the most desirable smoking qualities and kept tasty and fresh by the only tried and tested hygroscopic or moistening agents, proven by over 40 years of continuous use in USA tobacco products as entirely safe for use in the mouth. Pure natural sugars and chemically pure, harmless, far more costly glycerol. Nothing else. Chesterfield has the newest and most modern research laboratories and factories staffed by experts. Outside, independent consultants include many eminent scientists from leading universities.
Chesterfield has, for your smoking pleasure and protection, every advantage known to modern science. For you, that means Chesterfields are much milder, with an extraordinarily good taste, and no unpleasant aftertaste.
Folks, we have a little movie kicking around the country called Sailor Beware. Now, it's playing in most of your local theaters, and if you should happen to drop in and see it, you'll be very apt to hear a song called Never Before. And if you listen real carefully, you're sure to hear it right now. So, Richard, here we go. Never before has my heart felt a thrill like this. Never before, oh, never before. Never before has the whole world stood still like this. As I gaze at the face I simply adore. After today, when they speak about paradise, I'll smile and I'll say I've been there once or twice. For this is that once in a lifetime, the miracle of your kiss. I've never loved like this, never before. For this is that once in a lifetime, the miracle of your kiss. I've never loved like this, never before. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to move out of the spotlight and let Jimmy Wallington move in.
Thank you, Dean. Ladies and gentlemen, every day you hear more and more about an incredibly fast way to relieve the pains of headache, neuritis, and neuralgia. It's Anacin. A-N-A-C-I-N. Now, the reason Anacin is so wonderfully fast-acting and effective is this. Anacin is like a doctor's prescription. That is, Anacin contains not just one, but a combination of medically proven active ingredients in easy-to-take tablet form. Thousands of people have received envelopes containing Anacin tablets from their own dentist or physician. and in this way discovered the incredibly fast relief Anacin brings from pains of headache, neuritis, or neuralgia. So the next time a headache strikes, take Anacin. A-N-A-C-I-N. Anacin in handy boxes of 12 and 30. Economical family-size bottles of 50 and 100. Ask for Anacin at any drug counter.
Well, folks, there's a young fella around Hollywood who is from Universal International Studios, and we know you've seen him in many, many pictures, and he has set a lot of feminine hearts aflutter. He's a wonderful guy, a real good friend, and Jerry and I are mighty happy to have him here tonight. So hang on to your bobby socks, because here comes Tony Curtis.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, Dean.
You're very welcome, Tony.
It's good to see you, Dean.
It's good to see you, Tony.
I've sure been looking forward to being on your show, Dean.
I've sure been looking forward to having you here, Tony.
Hey, Dean, when are the writers coming back from vacation?
Tony, I guess you know that this is Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis, huh? Are you any relation to John L. Lewis?
No, why do you ask?
The top of your head looks like one of his eyebrows.
So what? The top of your head looks like someone slept on it. Hey, Tony, do you...
Jerry,
Tony, listen, Tony.
Jerry! Tony Curtis is a big movie star. Why can't you treat him with respect?
Big movie star? I wouldn't go see him in the movies if he was Gregory Peck, Clark Gable, and Montgomery Clift all rolled into one.
Why not?
I want to see a man with 6 legs.
Hey, Tony, I understand you just returned from a European trip.
That's right, Dino. I was down my honeymoon.
Oh, boy, a honeymoon. Who'd you go with?
I went with my wife, of course.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well, what's too bad about it?
A honeymoon is such fun. Why louse it up by taking the girl?
Jerry, I don't mind if you act a little crazy with me, but can't you calm down a little when we have company?
I'm sorry. Really, Tony, it's very nice you could come and be with us on the show. Because we've always wanted you as a guest. And now that you're here, we feel real good about it, Tony. And, Dean.
What?
We couldn't get a girl?
No.
I was hoping we'd get someone like Janet Leigh. I saw her yesterday. Wowee, zippity-doo-dah, boom, boom, boom.
That girl, Janet Leigh, wowie, zippity-doo-dah, boom, 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 happens to be my wife.
Don't kid me, buddy. Janet Leigh's married to Tony Curtis.
Jerry, this is Tony Curtis.
Dean, you're so naive.
Not naive, that's naive.
Dean, you're so naive. Right, well, if he were Tony Curtis, what's he doing here?
Where should I be?
Home with Janet.
Jerry, believe me, I am Tony Curtis.
Look, buddy, if you're Tony Curtis, then I shouldn't be here.
Well, where should you be?
Home with Janet.
Tony, I hope Janet doesn't mind our talking about her, but I saw some of her pictures, and she sure makes a beautiful sweater girl.
Right, thank you, Dean.
Hey, I always wanted to know, how come they call them sweater girls?
Well, that's simple, Jerry. You know how they take hundreds of tiny fibers of wool and interlace them into one delicate thread? And then they weave all these delicate threads into one beautiful garment.
Yeah?
Well, that's got nothing to do with it.
Oh, I don't want to alarm you boys, but this 3-cornered rat race is supposed to lead into a sketch.
Well, that sounds fine. What kind of a sketch are we going to do?
We thought it would make you feel right at home with one of those swashbuckling roles you've been playing, like the prince who was a thief and the son of Alibaba.
I'm ready when you are.
Good. Now let's put on our turbans while Jimmy Wallington tells us all about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have all thrilled to the wonderful stories from the Arabian Knights. Tonight, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis, and Tony Curtis shall enact one of the little-known stories from this famous book. Our story is called The Legend of the Magic Lamp, or Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Genie. Our scene is the fabulous palace of the mighty Sultan Abu Ben Adam. His son, Prince Ali, is strolling in the garden. And now, here is the Sultan's other son, Prince Abdul.
Greetings, O fair, handsome, and charming son of our father, the Sultan. I am Prince Abdul.
Greetings, O tall, strong, and talented son of father, the Sultan. I am Prince Ali.
Greetings. I am from the draft board.
Yeah.
I don't really have a line here, but I figured I'd throw a scare into him.
Abdul, the city of Baghdad is before us like a pearl. What adventure shall we seek?
Let's go peek into the Sultan's harem.
That's no fun. I peeked into Father's harem yesterday.
What'd you see?
Father.
The Sultan's temper is violent lately, and he gives me no money. I do not understand.
He gives you no money because, in the words of the prophet, Magdu Simitari Mar Tabu Akbar.
Oh, I see, but what does that mean?
The check is late from Standard Oil.
Oh. Look yonder in the palace trash pile. Do you see what I see?
Specter of an eyelash. It's an old lamp.
Quick, pick up the lamp. It is the magic one.
How did you know this?
I looked on the next page.
It's so dusty. Perhaps if I polished it, I can rub off the...
Don't rub it.
Hark! A voice from inside the lamp. What are you doing in there?
Dad wanted a wick.
Oh.
I'll rub the lamp and get him out.
You can light the lamp, but don't rub it. Please hold the lamp, stroke it, but don't rub it.
I'm gonna rub it.
Oh, thank you, oh masters, for releasing me from the lamp.
How long you been in there?
It'll be 3,000 years next Thursday.
You must indeed be old.
Are you kidding? I can remember back when we had a Republican Sultan.
Explain to me, Genie. You are 8 feet tall and this lamp stands only 6 inches high. How did you ever get in there?
You promised not to tell?
We promised. How did you get in the lamp?
I lied about my height.
Oh. I see. And tell me, Genie, why are you whispering?
I'm a little ashamed of the joke.
Oh.
Oh, brother to a triple-tongued tonsil. Can it be that you are the genie I've been dreaming of?
Oh, father of a worm, brother of a rick, and uncle of a wheel. Command me and I shall do your bidding.
You will do our bidding? How?
Like this. 2 spades, 3 hearts.
4 clubs. I double. Hey, you can't.
Come, Abdul. It is foolish to stand here with this ugly genie. I would rather be tied to the razorback of a green-eyed serpent and thrown against the jagged rocks below.
How about you, Prince Ali? Where would you rather be?
Well, I guess it's my turn. I'd rather be home with Janet.
But, Ali, why don't we have 100 wives like our father, the Sultan?
100 wives?
Good heavens. Can't you just see the towels in that house? His and hers and hers and hers.
Hers and hers and hers and hers.
As the Arabian sun sinks below the horizon, let's all give our attention to Jimmy Wallington.
Thank you, Dean. And now here's something of interest to everybody.
For breathless moments, for your breathless moments.
Chew Dentine, the gum with breathtaking flavor.
Dentine tastes so good.
Dentine freshens your breath.
Dentine helps keep your teeth sparkling, clean, and white.
Dentine, the gum with breathtaking flavor.
Before you go out, and always after eating, drinking, smoking, refresh your breath with Dentine. You'll love Dentine chewing gum, for Dentine has a wonderful, tingling, nippy flavor that lingers on and on. It's delicious. And remember, Dentine helps keep your teeth white, too. Keep Dentine handy. You'll enjoy refreshing your breath when you chew Dentine. So, for breathless moments, for your breathless moments,
Chew Dentine, the gum with breathtaking taking flavor.
Ladies and gentlemen, a few days ago I was rummaging through my attic and I ran across a pile of old phonograph records. I started to flip through them and I ran across one platter that had the label scraped off. Well, I got kind of curious and brought it downstairs, and when I put it on the turntable, I found myself listening to a real treat. The vocalist was wonderful, the band was wonderful, and the song was wonderful. I have no idea who the singer was, but whoever he was, I want to thank him for making me fall in love with a great little song. So, Richard? Maybe it's because I love you too much. Maybe that is why you love me so little. Maybe when I answer yes, maybe I became a boy. Maybe if I loved you less, maybe you would love me more. Maybe it's because I've kissed you too much. Maybe that is why my kiss means so little. Maybe with a love so great and a love so small, maybe I'll be left with no love at all. So great and a love so small, maybe I'll be left with no love at all. Jerry, that's wrong. Maybe it's because I love you so much.
Do you really, Bobby?
Excuse me for interrupting, Dean, but I just wanted to say goodnight.
Tony, you know, I was so excited when I heard you were coming that I even put on Bobby's socks.
Why'd you put on a Bobby socks?
Because Herbie's socks were too small.
So I put on Bobby's socks.
Good night, boys. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Tony. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to give our many, many thanks again to all of you who have been very, very kind enough to send in their contributions to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Your contributions have been put to work to help find a cure for this dread disease. For those of you who haven't contributed as yet, please do so. The muscular dystrophy sufferers need your help very, very badly. Please mail your contributions to MDA, New York 8, New York. That's MDA, Muscular Dystrophy Associations, New York 8, New York. Thank you.
Until next week, this is Dean Martin.
And Jerry Lewis reminding you that we're on radio through the courtesy of Hal Wallace Productions, producers of our latest picture, Sailor Beware. Good night, everybody.
From Hollywood, you have just heard transcribed the Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis Show, written by Ed Simmons and Norman Lear, produced and directed by Dick Mack, with music under the direction of Dick Stabile. Brought to you by Chesterfield. Sound off for Chesterfield. Get the cigarette that's much milder with the added protection of no unpleasant aftertaste. By Anacin for fast relief from pain of headache, neuritis, and neuralgia. By Dentyne, the gum with breathtaking flavor. And by Beeman's Pepsin, the gum that's great to chew and good for your digestion, too. Tony Curtis will soon be seen in Flesh and Fury, a Universal International picture co-starring Jan Sterling and Mona Freeman.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
And there you have it. 72 years ago, February 29th, 1952, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis with Tony Curtis here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. We'll take a look at the news from this date in 1952, and then we'll have the lives of Harry Lime.
Our country was founded by men who had faith in God and who were willing to endure hardship and sacrifice for the sake of that faith. In these troubled times, there is need to support a way of life based on the enduring principles of religion, which knit the family together, make for good citizenship, and build the character of the children. The religious institutions in your community need your interest and support, so take an active part in religious affairs. Your pastor, rabbi, or priest will give you invaluable family counsel and aid if you're a newcomer to the community. To face the problems of the future, America must be morally strong, and that moral strength comes through worship and faith. Go to church this week and take someone with you.
Okay, we started out this Thursday Leap Day edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of the Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis Show. In a moment, we'll hear another episode of the Lives of Harry Lime, also from that date in history, Friday, February 29th, 1952. Now, in the newspapers of that Friday, 72 years ago, these were some of the headlines. Senator Richard B. Russell of Georgia got into the race for the Democratic presidential nomination yesterday, but left unanswered the question whether he will bolt if the prize goes to President Truman. The 54-year-old balding senator automatically became a major candidate of the Southern anti-Truman Democrat faction, which has fought the president's civil rights program and has pledged itself to block his re-election. Russell himself gave no direct answer to the chief issue implied in the entry of the race. Will he lead a third party of some kind if Truman gets the nomination that seems to be his for the asking? The communists threatened new aggression against Formosa today in an apparent attempt to stampede Allied negotiators into giving way on Korean truce deadlocks. The Peiping radio said Red China is determined and able to liberate Formosa Island, a redoubt of Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek's Chinese nationalist regime. Picturesque Cape Cod, snowbound for 16 hours by a second howling nor'eastern storm in 11 days, was being dug out gradually last night as giant rotary plows led a mechanical onslaught on 12-foot snowdrifts. 18 U.S. Air Forcemen, shepherded by the only one who had ever jumped before, parachuted safely from a twin-engine transport iced up in a blizzard as the last of its gas gave out early yesterday near Sydney, Nova Scotia. Walter Winchell's office said yesterday he will resume his Sunday night broadcasts on March 9th and his columns in papers on March 10th. The noted columnist, on advice of physicians, curtailed his broadcasting and writing on January 27th due to a virus infection and fatigue. He took a long rest at Miami Beach and recently returned to New York. His office said he had recovered. And 50-year-old Alexander Weiler, Milwaukee florist, told police he hid a money belt containing $2,700 in the springs of a hotel room when he heard someone try the door. Well, he remembered the belt when he was aboard a train en route to New York. He caught the next train back. Too late, the belt was gone. And those some of the day's top news stories as heard in the newspapers of Friday, February 29th, 1952. Up next from that same Friday, The Lives of Harry Lime, starring Orson Welles. That's next on this Leap Day, Thursday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Less than 3% of the population were in towns of more than 10,000. Most immigrants lived on the land, but cities were beginning to flourish. Revolutionary Philadelphia, with its 40,000 inhabitants, was the first colonial city in size. New York was second with 25,000. Boston, with 16,000, third. Charleston, the largest city of the South, numbered 12,000. America was growing. And in spite of all adversity, America was destined to continue its growth. Why? Possibly because America was a dream for freedom-loving people, then as it is today.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Leap Day Thursday, want to remind you to visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Stream our shows, learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can find our social media links there. And if you'd like to support the program, you can buy me a coffee or purchase an item of merchandise there. That's at classicradio.stream. Now from 72 years ago, Friday, February 29th, 1952, Orson Welles, The Lives of Harry Lime on the Hyacinth Patrol.
Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Kara.
The hyacinth is a flower, a rum swizzle is a drink, and the Panama Canal, let's face it, is a ditch. This story begins with a drink and ends with a flower. There are also a couple of very cute babes involved in the proceedings. They are mainly for decoration, however. Basically, this is a tale about what almost happened to the ditch. So hold on tight, my children. Your Uncle Harry is taking you for a nice ride on his magic carpet.
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the Third Man, in Hyacinth Patrol.
We're off to the canal zone. Notice, please, that despite wartime improvements and sanitation, an air of fetid decay hangs heavy over this whole area. On this particular trip, the air is even more than normally loaded with danger and tension. Why? We wonder. I decide to lay over for a night in Cristobal. Find me an air-cooled hotel, I take me a shower, and then off to a bar for one of those rum swizzles. Let's pick the most popular of all the hot spots in town while we're about it. A bistro with the charming name of Ptomaine Joe's. Okay, we're in Ptomaine Joe's now. The air is hot, sticky, and pulsing with a majority of the baser of the human emotions. But since I need something tall, cool, with an emphatic flavor of rum, I take my life in my hands and push my way up to the bar.
Well, how's the little flower tonight?
May I get through, please?
Little flower, is it? Let's see how you like a blossom on your eye,
Excuse me,
buddy. Oh, gee, mister, I never meant to slug you.
that's all right.
I was aiming for my pal here.
You all right, sir?
Well, let me count my teeth first.
You won't report us to the MPs, will you, mister? I never meant to touch you.
I'd be the last one to report anything, Sergeant.
Well, the least I can do is buy you a drink. They say one of Joe's zombies will kill you or cure you.
Well, really, it's very
Come
nice.
on,
of you,
let's
man.
grab a seat. Hey, look, there's somebody leaving a table. Quick.
Well, but you don't need to feel obliged just because
We made it.
socked me in the kitchen.
Oh, you sit right down and... What'll you have?
Well, make it a rum swiggle, Sergeant.
Hey, Joe!
Yeah?
A rum swizzle for me friend here. Top out another beer for me.
Coming up, Joe.
Now we can chin in peace. What's your tag, pal?
My name? Well, it's...
Me, I'm Tiger Dolan. You ever heard of me 2-3 years back?
Dolan, I don't believe...
Most promising young middleweight in the fight game. That's what they called me. What'd you say your tag was?
Harry Lime.
You know, you got a pretty good jaw yourself. Of course, that punch I tossed in your direction didn't show half what I could do.
I'm glad of that, old man.
Here's your poison, gents.
Thanks, Joe. Here you are.
Allow me, after all, I should do something for the good of the country.
Yeah, but... Well, okay, thanks. Here's looking at you.
Cheers. You know, Tiger, you'd better do something about that red hair of yours.
What do you mean?
It gets you into too much trouble.
Oh, I get it. I used to keep my fighting for the ring, Harry. But since Hero shoved me into the Hyacinth Patrol...
Who shoved you into what?
The Hyacinth Patrol. Hero is the louse sitting over at that corner table with my girl Lola.
Lola? Lola. It was like looking into the face of the jungle itself. Looking at Lola. She was lush, magnificent, and waiting. Her eyes were insolent, her mouth voluptuously curving and cruel. Her hair the dark red of aging blood. You see what I mean? She met my gaze, slowly smiled, and then...
Hey, Harry, ain't you listening to me?
Yes.
I was doing all right with Lola until Nugent moved in. That guy's fouled me up ever since boot camp, Harry.
How do you mean?
Ross Nugent's his name. Thinks he's a boxer. He learned to throw his fists around in military school, I guess. I beat the tar out of him in a camp out once. He's hated me ever since.
Tell me, does Lola work here at Tomaine Joe's?
No, just drops in now and then.
Oh.
I almost busted with joy when they transferred me to Panama. Studied, worked like mad. Looked like I was going to make one of the gun crews. Then Lieutenant Nugent was transferred here. To my outfit. He details me to the Hyacinth Patrol.
Old man, just what is this Hyacinth Patrol that raises your gorge?
It's a stinking flower detail, that's what it is. Clearing water hyacinths out of the channels so they won't foul up ships or breed malarial mosquitoes.
Just for the moment, old man, let's forget the lieutenant and concentrate on beauteous Lola.
She's no better than him.
Old man, you're Hyacinth happy. In Lola, I detect a vast improvement over your lieutenant, or indeed almost anyone else. I smiled at Lola. She returned the courtesy with interest. Lieutenant Nugent caught our pleasant little interchange and frowned.
Oh, what's the matter, Lola? Am I boring you?
Why? What do you mean, Ross, darling?
Isn't one man at a time enough, or do you constantly play the field?
Ross.
Who's the man with Dolan?
Why, I don't know.
Is that why you smiled at him?
Really, Ross, if I hadn't smiled at you when I was with Tiger one night, we might never have met.
Oh, yes, we would. You'd seen to that.
I don't have to sit here and put up with that.
You sit here and like it. Joe. Oh, Joe!
Yeah?
Come over here.
What are you going to do?
Wait and see.
Yeah, Lieutenant. Anything wrong?
Yes, something's wrong. See that red-headed sergeant sitting over there with that other fella?
Tiger? Sure.
Throw him out.
Ross.
Well, I don't know, Lieutenant. They've been behaving them and...
You want your place listed as out of bounds?
Oh, no, sir. No, only I...
Throw him out. They've been annoying the lady.
Ah, here comes Joe. You ready for a refill, Harry?
Not just at the moment, Tiger, old man. This swiggle is swiggling very nicely. What about you?
I never turned down a small beer. Helps drown a darned hyacinth.
I'm very sorry, gentlemen,
I'm
but
the one that's sorry, Joe. Look, fresh out of beer. Rustle me up another one.
No, I must ask you to leave.
What's that?
You're disturbing the peace.
We're disturbing the what?
There've been complaints, Tiger.
About us? From who?
The lieutenant over there.
Your friend Nugent.
That's all, brother.
Hold on there, Sergeant. Hold on. You're getting out.
In my own good time, pal. First, I'm going to have a word with the lieutenant.
Now, just wait a minute now.
Come on, boys.
Take your hands off of me.
Oh, so you want to leave the hard way, eh?
3 hours and 8 bars later, I was ready to call it a night. By now, Tiger Dolan and I were bosom buddies, and we'd arranged to meet on the morrow, being Sunday. Looking forward to a shower and peaceful slumber, I let myself into my room, switched on the light and electric fan, and... Wow.
It isn't very nice to keep a lady waiting, Mr. Lime.
Especially as the lady is known as Lola. Where's the lieutenant? Hiding under the bed?
Now, you're not very nice twice.
Am I supposed to be flattered that you not only learned my name, but also went into my room?
You want me to go?
If you don't mind, old girl, you're Danger with a capital D, and I'm Tired with a capital T.
But you do forgive me.
For being dangerous? That, among other things. Now, good night, Lola.
Well, if you want it that way. Want to see me tomorrow?
Silly girl, why bother me with unnecessary questions? Where?
At my place. 23 Villano. When?
Oh, darkish, about 8.
Okay, Harry. Good night.
Night, Lola.
I'll be waiting, Harry.
Lola!
Why? Tiger.
Oh, Tiger
Harry, what's
boy.
she doing here?
Well, we'll take that up in due time, Sergeant. Come on in. I don't intend to be thrown out of this place.
I'm asking you, Lime, what's she doing here?
Well, I found her waiting when I came in.
Why?
Well, that I wouldn't know. Now, what's your problem?
I don't know as if I want to tell you now.
Oh, come on, Tiger. We're buddies, remember?
I thought we were. The minute I turn my back, you're after my girl.
Wrong. She came after me, but Louis the Louse was ahead of me. Don't forget that, Tiger boy.
Yeah, Nugent. That's why I came here, Harry.
Can't we forget the lieutenant just for tonight?
No, look, I heard something about him. Something I never believed even he'd be low enough to do. Now, you gotta listen, Harry. This is important. I think Nugent is working for the enemy.
Yes, better go on the wagon tomorrow, old boy. No more small beers for you.
Look, I'm not kidding. A friend of mine just told me. She came into town from the swamps to tell me.
She? I thought you were grieving over Lola, White Tiger boy, you rascal.
Will you listen? Rita lives near the old French Channel. She's seen our spit and polish lieutenant going to old Jibber's cabin. How do you like that?
Not too well. Tell me about it tomorrow, Tiger.
Tomorrow's too late. That's why I'm telling you now. I want you to go out there with me first thing in the morning.
To the swamps? My dear old Tiger, why the swamps?
To Rita's shack. She'll tell you the whole story.
Rita? But why me? If Nugent is an enemy agent, which I strongly doubt, Tiger boy, shouldn't the facts be delivered to the proper authorities?
I gotta get proof before moving in. Don't you see, pal? If I reported Hero, and the story should be phony, well, you could throw the book at me. You gotta come with me.
If I say yes, old man, will you leave me alone now? I want to go to bed.
Until 6 a.m.
6? Okay, 6 a.m. Okay, Tiger boy, I'll go to the swamps with you and listen to Chloe.
Her name is Rita.
Chloe Rita. It's still going to be 6 a.m. Hold on, Tiger. What if Nugent should be an enemy agent?
Then we'll be in it up to our necks, Harry. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a couple of medals on our chests.
Or bullets in our gizzards. Get out of here, Tiger boy. I've got an appointment with Lola.
How's that?
In my dreams, Tiger. After all, a man can dream, can't he? That is, if he can ever get to sleep.
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man. And now, Orson Welles, as the third man, continues with the Hyacinth Patrol.
Me, I've never been partial to swamps. Swamps are damp, dismal, swampy sort of places with all sorts of nasty and poisonous things flying about and slithering around. This particular swamp was no exception. In the dingy hours at dawn, Tiger laboriously rode us through something that was half mud, half glue, except for those cursed water hyacinths.
Hey, that's Rita now. She is coming. Just around this next bend, Harry. We'll be there.
If your friend heard his coming, it follows that everybody else in the neighborhood has. Isn't such a place as this somewhat public for enemy agents?
You
Tiger
still
Boy?
don't believe me, do you?
I'm humoring you for the sake of our old friendship, Tiger Boy.
Wouldn't you be surprised if the story was true? I couldn't think of a better way of getting back at Hero. That'd be a payoff to end all payoffs.
Speaking of payoffs, old man, there's one dead ahead. Standing on that small dock. It was Rita. And as Lola had been all jungle, this small, dark Panamanian girl with glowing black eyes and fawn-like grace was whatever loveliness that a dawn in the swamplands could ever hold. She had the quality of, well, how shall I say it, of just being hatched from some magical prehistorical egg, blossoming from an age of ooze and monsters into a new young world. To put it succinctly, Rita was quite some tamale.
He is your friend, Tiger?
You bet, Rita. True blue all the way.
Come this way, please, where no one can see us.
She led us up a path that oozed under my feet and into the shack. It was bare, spotlessly clean, and forlorn. But on the wooden table in a milk jar, hyacinth bloomed.
I do not go to Cristobal often, Mr. Lime. Only to meet Tiger now. He buys me ice cream. We go to a cinema.
It's quite a change of pace for our boy.
I do not understand.
Oh, it's unimportant, Rita. Go on.
Before I met Tiger, I might never have noticed an officer like Lieutenant Nugent. Or I should say, I would not have noticed anything strange about his visits to Gibber. I would not have thought anything about them one way or another.
Then there's this Gibber.
Yeah,
what about
he's a
him?
loony.
He has lived in the swamps as long as I can remember. I grew up knowing that Gibber was not quite right in the head. We have a saying here, Mr. Lime. Such people as Gibber have too much swamp water in their bodies. It reaches their brains. It is bad.
Well, there are more liquids in swamp water that are bad for the brain, honey.
See, usually, such people are kind, like children. But Gibber never was. He was always alone. Never had a friend, not even a dog, until Lieutenant Nugent.
You see, Harry, didn't I tell you?
Yeah, even so, this strange friendship doesn't necessarily prove there's anything dirty afoot, Tiger. Maybe Nugent has hidden qualities. Maybe he's befriended this old man out of the kindness of his heart. See what I mean?
You
Tiger
believe
Boy?
that?
No, I'm afraid I don't. How long does Nugent usually remain at Gibber's?
1, maybe 2 hours.
Does he have to row there, too?
No, Gibber's cabin is landlocked.
Hmm.
You can walk there in half an hour. I'll first see the lieutenant when I'm looking for watercress. Next time I hide and watch, because I know Tiger does not like him.
Well, what do you think, Harry?
Much as I hate to say it, I think we ought to visit this Gibber individual, Tiger Boy.
No?
Good heavens, no. These things are done by easy stages. As for our next move, into the boat, pick up the oars, my hearty, and row. Row me back to civilization. So the story was true. At least it looked that way. Certainly Nugent's visits to an obscure swamp half-wit were pretty suspicious. I went to 23 Villano that evening for my rendezvous with Lola and to ask a few questions, but as I stepped up on the porch, I happened to glance in through the bamboo screen.
I'm warning you, Lola, quit nagging me.
Nagging you? That is a laugh. The way you talk to me, you think I was your wife. Just because I ask a simple question.
None of your business where I'm going tonight. Does that answer it?
Definitely. You're going up toward the old French Channel again to see your pal, Gibber.
Shut up.
But you're not only seeing Gibber, are you? Any old time Ross Nugent would waste his time in a swamp with an old man when there is a pretty girl nearby. Don't try to fool me, lover boy. You're just as interested in that Rita girl as you are in Gibber. Stay away from her, or I might tell what I know and...
One word from you about my visits to Gibber's cabin and I'll...
No, Ross. I won't say anything. I promise. I only said I would because I'm so crazy jealous over you. Believe me, darling. Please believe me.
Somehow one sensed a deal in the making. But before going after the business, I picked up my automatic at the hotel and started the old French Channel. I'd gotten in directions on how to reach Gibber's cabin. I made the mistake of using Rita's cabin as a landmark. I thought I saw her flitting in the shadows as I passed near the place, and then a familiar voice sounded.
Is that you, Harry?
Yes, Tiger Boy, it's me.
Well, what are you doing up here?
It is most dangerous, senor. For a tourista to wander in the swamps at night, you might get lost.
Yeah, I knew where I was going, Rita. As a matter of fact, I was going to Gibbers.
Gibbers?
Yeah.
Without me?
Well, I thought it best, Tiger Boy. Might not be good for you to get involved. I haven't anything to lose.
You think I have? I wouldn't miss out on being in at this kill for anything.
I come too?
No, Rita, you stay here and keep the swamp fires burning till we get back.
And if we don't come back in 2 hours, you know what to do, baby.
See, Tiger, I'll do like you told me.
What's all this?
Well, it's just in case of trouble, Harry. Not that I'm expecting any, but just in case. I still can't figure out why you was coming here alone, Harry.
No, Tiger
If I hadn't
Boy.
have been visiting Rita tonight, you could have got yourself into trouble.
Don't concern yourself about me, Tiger Boy.
Looking for swamp spirits, folks?
Gibber.
Yeah, who are you?
We're friends, Gibber. We've come to talk to you.
Oh, night ain't for talking, friends. Too many spirits about. You come back after sunup, then I'll talk to you.
Now, we want to talk now, Gibber.
Well, we won't take much of your time, Gibber. You see, we...
Time don't mean nothing to me, friend. Days come and go and get swallowed up by the night.
All right, Gibber. You can bring him in now.
Nugent!
Come on, get in, friend.
Well, Tiger Boy, it appears that the hunters have walked into their own trap.
Search him, Gibber. I'll keep him covered.
Okay. Hold on, you two.
You won't get away with this, Nugent.
I seem to be doing all right, Dolan.
Tiger gave us the usual beat-up cliche for the circumstance, Lieutenant. We must forgive him. His mind is somewhat limited.
Huh?
You're Harry Lyne. I've made it my business to learn your background.
And you should know I might prove helpful to you.
You gone nuts?
You don't know who you're tied up with, Dolan. Lyme has more crimes to his credit than I'll ever have.
Well, they all pale beside your hidden profession, Nugent, old boy. You're in a position to serve your adopted country very well, aren't you?
I think so.
Let me get at the guy.
Don't make a move, Dolan.
I got their guns, Lieutenant.
Very well. Bring him inside the shack. Light the candle.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Well, this is cozy.
Of all the guys in the world, I have to ask for help. It's got to be you.
No,
my usual luck.
So, you suspected me all along.
Yes,
You're a rat.
Tiger gave me the lead, Lieutenant. I intended coming here alone tonight. I had something I wanted to talk to you about. Now, about my proposition,
It won't
Nugent.
work, Lyme.
I beg your pardon?
I said it won't work.
Oh,
I
no?
don't need you. You'd be dangerous. You and Dolan will be liquidated tonight.
Well, in my case, at least, isn't that a bit drastic?
Not at all. But knowing as much as you do, you'd be interested in this.
Hey, a secret room behind that phony wall.
Complete with telegraphic equipment and operator. All very cloak and dagger.
All very efficient, Lyne. At the moment, the operator is sending a message to our carrier, miles out at sea, alerting the robot planes to bomb the Gaddon Dam.
Gaddon?
Tonight.
At least our visit was timely.
But it'll be your last visit any place. Hey, Lieutenant?
Never mind the comments, Gibber. Go get the weights ready for our inquisitive friends here.
Your bomb and get turned, that'll jam up the whole canal.
Exactly. Get going, Gibber.
Yes, sir.
Just what are your plans for us, Lieutenant?
Dolan is on the Hyacinth Patrol.
Oh, you...
I thought I'd drop you and him into the channel so you could observe their route formations at close range.
The old lime luck was definitely running out. Definitely. The 2-hour limit we'd given Rita was no good. We'd be counting those hyacinth roots long before she summoned whatever aid Tiger had dreamed up. I idly wondered if my past life would march before me as I sank beneath the scum. I listened to the chattering of the telegraph keys that talked to the enemy carrier, and then...
Got the weights down by the boat, Lieutenant. Can put 'em on these fellas when they're down there.
All right, Gibber. You gentlemen will excuse me if I don't go down to the boat with you. I have business here. Gibber and the others will see to it that you get a good launching.
If there's any justice anywhere, you drop dead right now, Nugent.
Sorry, can't oblige you, no. Happy Hyacinth.
Why, you...
Hey, stop it! Frost it!
The automatic warning signal. Someone's coming. Close the wall. Douse the light.
Make a break for it, Harry.
Don't tell me what to do, you
Don't try to
double-crosser.
sneak out, Dolan or Lyme. I'm at the door with a gun.
Ahoy! You in there, Sergeant Dolan?
The Hyacinth Patrol.
What?
Come in and get us, buddies.
Hyacinth Patrol gathered more than blossoms that night. Nugent and the other enemy agents were rounded up, the whole canal zone alerted for attack, the enemy carrier found and destroyed, and all because little Rita went for aid the moment we started for Gibber's cabin. I didn't see Tiger Dolan for a few days, and then...
I can't tell you how sorry I am thinking what I did about you, Harry.
Forget it, Tiger boy. After all, how are you to know I was just trying to play for time?
Those brass hats, I guess they butted you up plenty, huh?
Yes, very embarrassing. As a rule, the authorities aren't quite as cordial.
You know they're creating the Hyacinth Patrol of the Air to guard the canal?
Oh, that's wonderful.
I made the gun crew on one of them.
Oh, good for you, Tiger boy.
All because of you, Harry. You know, I never had a friend like you.
Oh, nonsense. I would have done it for anyone, Tiger boy.
So, look, would you be best man at our wedding?
I beg your pardon?
Rita wants you, too.
Well, I'm sorry, old boy, but I'm taking the next ship out.
Are you kidding? It's in the lock now.
Well, then I'm on it. Goodbye, Tiger boy. Happy hunting. Happy hyacinths. And happy honeymoon.
Harry Lime returns in just a moment. And now, Harry Lime.
We closed this story with a very pretty and sentimental tableau, with yours truly on the deck of a departing ship waving goodbye to the young couple, Rita and Tiger Boy. Sort of sad, me all alone on the boat, going mournfully off into the sunset. But the fact is, I wasn't leveling with you. The fact is, I wasn't alone. The lady's name, you may remember, was Lola. I persuaded her, without having put up much of an argument, that the big ditch with all its hyacinths wasn't really worthy of her charms. What happened after that is another story which old Uncle Harry will be glad to give you in full some other time. Goodbye now.
We would call The Lives of Harry Lime today a prequel. It details the lives of Harry Lime, the third man, as they were detailed prior to the motion picture The Third Man, and he died in that picture. So they set the story with Welles, who starred as Harry Lime in The Third Man, and gave him this series that was produced by Harry Alan Towers in London. Not a BBC production, but a Harry Alan Towers production. February 29, 1952, 72 years ago, The Lives of Harry Lime. Up next on Classic Radio Theater, we'll get back to Hollywood and silliness with George Burns and Gracie Allen.
Not all careless drivers have accidents, but many such careless drivers cause accidents. A woman driver who drives slowly down Main Street while doing a little window shopping is a menace. So is the man who insists on telling the people in the back seat of his car about his poker game last week. It's no wonder that ordinarily cautious drivers start to lose their tempers and take dangerous chances to pass these careless drivers. When an accident results, the person who caused the accident probably won't even be touched. So the National Safety Council says if you want to window shop, get out and walk. If you are too busy describing one of your sterling feats to pay any attention to traffic, get out and walk. The driver's license you have does not give you the right to endanger the lives of your passengers or other human beings. Driving can be dangerous. Keep your mind on what you're doing, or walk.
Now on this special Leap Day edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, a Thursday, 29th day of February, we go back 80 years to a Leap Day edition of the George Burns and Gracie Allen show from 80 years ago, as it appears that George, well, is he going to star opposite Dorothy Lamour?
Well, hello. Come right in. Oh, George, we've got company.
This is Bill Goodwin, speaking for Lever Brothers, makers of Swan, the new white floating soap that's pure as fine Castiles. Well, it's Tuesday night again, time for another pleasant visit with George Burns and Gracie Allen, our guest, Dorothy Lamour, with Jimmy Cash and Felix Mills and his orchestra. And now, meet the people who live in the Burns house, George and Gracie. Well, tonight it is my sad duty to make an announcement that will plunge the music world into deepest gloom. Sugar Throat Burns will sing no more. It seems his feelings were hurt last week, and he's still sulking, despite all the efforts of Mrs. Sugarthroat.
Aw, cheer up, George. Just because Mr. DeMille didn't want you to sing in his pictures doesn't mean that you aren't great.
He laughed at my voice.
Oh, who? What does Cecil B. DeMille know about making pictures anyway?
I'd rather not talk about it.
Oh, but darling, I can't stand to see you like this. Those big, soft, wet brown eyes are glazed with pain. like a disappointed cow.
Won't do any good talking to me, Gracie. I'll never sing again.
Oh, George, don't say that. I know you've been hurt, cruelly hurt, but that happens in Hollywood. Into each life a little rain must fall. That happens in Hollywood, too.
I told all my friends I'm going to be in DeMille's picture, and then he laughed at my voice.
Well, don't you worry, dear. All the movie studios will be after you. With Gene Autry and the Army, I'll bet Republic will want you to be their new singing cowboy.
Oh, sure.
Oh, you'd look magnificent on a horse, singing a cowboy song. I can just see the fade out of the picture. As the horse trots off into the sunset, the last thing we see is your face as you sing.
Well, I'm not going to sing anymore.
Oh, but you're so convincing with those Western songs. Remember at Ronnie Reagan's party when you sang Give Me My Boots and Saddle? Ronnie said it was all he could do to keep from giving you a boot.
Very flattered.
Why, this whole town will be after you. As a matter of fact, there was a scout here just this morning asking for you.
Really?
Yeah. He wants you to help his troop collect papers.
I'm going down to the cigar store.
Oh, George, please, before you go, unlock those little silver tonsils and give me just one glorious burst of melody. Don't hum, sing.
That was the door buzzer.
It's probably Mrs. Bundy, the cleaning woman. Come in. Hello, Mrs. Bundy.
Hello, Mrs. Burns. Hello, Mr. Burns.
Goodbye.
My goodness, if the rest of your house looks as bad as your husband, I'm going to have a job straightening it up today.
Oh, Mrs. Bundy, George has sworn never to sing again.
My, how'd you get him to promise that?
Oh, I didn't want him to do it. He did it because he's all hurt and disillusioned. And I've just got to think of some way to snap him out of it.
Well, whenever I feel myself slipping, I pull myself together with numerology.
Oh, sounds like a girdle.
Oh, no. Lots of movie stars use numerology. Why, Dorothy Lamour uses it all the time.
Oh, then it can't be a girdle.
I should say not. Numerology controls our destinies. Your name tells you what number you vibrate to. You see, we all vibrate to certain numbers.
Yeah, that's true. I'm getting so I shake all over when I hear Mercy Dotes.
Not musical numbers, Mrs. Burns. Real numbers. The letters in your name tell you what number you are. Now, take my name, Fanny Bundy. I'm a 9. Bundy's a 3 and Fanny's a 6.
Oh, really? You know, I would have guessed you were at least an 18.
Numerology is fascinating. Like I said, Dorothy Lamour won't make a move without it. Right now, she's searching frantically for a leading man who's a number 7.
Oh, are number 7 scarce?
Well, number 7s who sing are. It's a musical picture.
Oh, is that so? Mrs. Bundy, is my husband by any chance a number 7?
Well, let's see. George is 3 and Burns is 2. No, he's number 5.
Oh. Well, isn't there some way I could stretch him into a 7?
Well, the letter K is 2. That'd make him a 7.
Really? Well, Mrs. Bundy, it looks like Dorothy Lamour has found her number 7, and George K. Burns will sing again. Come in. Oh, hello, Bill.
Well, hiya, girls. What's a good word?
Numerology.
Numerology?
Yes, George is a number 7.
He is?
Uh-huh. And that makes Dorothy Lamour vibrate to him.
Well, lucky George. I'm not sure I understand, Gracie.
Well, Dorothy Lamour is practically on her knees begging for a 7.
Oh, well, that I understand. Been in that same spot many times myself.
Do you vibrate to 7?
Well, 7 or 11. Of course, I also vibrate to 4.
You do?
Oh, sure. Every time I think of Swan being 4 soaps in one, I vibrate with joy.
Oh, Bill, you and your 4 soaps in one.
There I go, see? Just can't help myself, Grace. You see, Swan's the white floating soap that's wonderful for your hands and face, bathing the baby, for dishes, and for light laundry. It's 4 swell soaps in one, a great wartime buy.
Well, anyway, Bill, thanks to numerology, George is going to make a picture with Dorothy Lamour.
Well, got himself a candid camera, huh?
Oh, no. No, I mean he's going to act with her.
Oh.
Sing with her. Make love to her. Oh, my goodness. Oh, make love to her. Bill, I may get vibrated right out of a husband.
Oh, Gracie, George won't fall for Dottie.
Well, maybe not, but can Dottie resist George? She's only human, you know.
Gracie, she'd only go for a pan like George's if it held dishes and Swan suds.
What?
Well, you know that women are crazy about Swan for dishes. Those hard-working Swan suds make short work of dishwashing. And at the same time, Swan is so mild and gentle, it helps keep your hands from getting rough and red.
Oh, I don't know, Bill. Beautiful girls have fallen for George before.
Who?
Me.
I should have guessed.
And I'm not too sure I can trust George either. Dorothy Lamour is pretty alluring.
Well, Dorothy Lamour has nothing on you, Gracie.
No, she hasn't got much on herself either. That's what worries me.
I say what you mean. Tonight, our young tenor Jimmy Cash sings the romantic ballad, The Music Stopped. Jimmy?
Stopped, but we were still dancing, which goes to show that music has charms. The lights were low, so we kept on dancing. I felt the glow of you in my arms. The band had left the stand, and we were in heaven, dancing on a cloud way off in the blue. The music stopped, and people were glancing, but we went on dancing, for we didn't know, because the lights were low, and we were in love.
Well, Gracie has found out that Dorothy Lamour, who believes in numerology, is searching desperately for a singing leading man who vibrates to the number 7. So Gracie has altered George's vibrations and is now calling on the glamorous Miss Lamour.
Dorothy, you're at Paramount, aren't you?
Yes.
Would you do me a favor?
Why, of course, Gracie.
Would you ask Paulette Goddard and Veronica Lake to please stop fighting over my husband?
Gracie, I didn't know your husband was at Paramount.
Oh, they don't let him walk around in the open.
No?
No, they're afraid Loretta Young might kidnap him. You see, my husband is so frightfully handsome.
Really? Well, whatever happened to your first husband, George Burns?
Oh, this is the same one. I'm still married to George Burns.
Well, I must not remember George very well. Isn't he kind of short with a little pot tummy?
Oh, no, you're thinking of Cary Grant.
Well, what does George look like?
And he has a beautiful singing voice, too.
He sings?
Like a nightingale. You know how the girls swoon when Frank Sinatra sings?
Yes.
Well, when George sings, Frank Sinatra swoons.
That shouldn't take much.
Well, of course, George's main attraction is that he's a number 7. But, of course, you wouldn't understand that. It's numerology.
Wait a minute. Number 7? George is a number 7?
Where do you get your hair done, Dorothy?
Never mind about my hair. Gracie, that figure, it's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yours is kind of pretty, too.
No, I mean about George being a number 7. Gracie, I must have him.
Dorothy, please.
I must have him for my picture. Where can I find him?
Well, right now he's home hiding from Claudette Colbert.
George is just the man I'm looking for. He's handsome, he sings, and above all, he's a number 7. Wait a minute. According to numerology, George Burns would be a number 5.
George K. Burns?
Oh. What's his middle name?
Kansas City.
Kansas City?
Yeah, he was born there.
Oh, I see. He was named after Kansas City.
Yeah, shortly after.
Gracie, why don't I go home with you right now and talk to George? I can't wait to see if he's as handsome as you say.
Well, why not arrange the whole thing on the phone?
On the phone?
Well, yes, and then you can see him when you start shooting the picture. Here's our phone number. You can call him.
But why can't I see him?
Well, the poor boy is so exhausted from being chased by all those women, especially today. You see, today Rosalind Russell chased him, and she has such long legs. So, goodbye, Dorothy.
Well, I can't let a number 7 get away from me.
Hello?
Hello. Is this George Burns?
Yes.
This is Dorothy Lamour.
Who?
Dorothy Lamour. Look, George, will you please be my new leading man?
Who'd you say this was?
Dorothy Lamour.
Gracie, will you stop with this nonsense?
This isn't Gracie, it's Dorothy. Listen, George, you're a number 7, and I'm in tune with your vibrations.
You're also a little bit nuts, aren't you?
George, I'm going to sing at the Hollywood Canteen tonight. Would you make it a duet with me? Then maybe I can change your mind.
Oh, sure. Shall I wear a sarong?
You still don't believe it's me, do you?
No.
Well, you wait there. I'll come right over.
Yeah, do that. Come in? Well, I'll be darned. It is Dorothy Lamour.
Quick, where's Mr. Burns?
I'm Mr. Burns.
Oh, how do you do? I'd like to see your son, George.
I'm George Burns.
Oh, no, I want the George Burns who's married to Gracie.
That was me you talked to on the phone, Dorothy. And I'll be glad to be your new leading man and sing at the canteen with you tonight.
Oh, hello, Dorothy. What are you doing here?
I'm beginning to wonder. Gracie, I'd like to speak to you alone, please.
You would? Excuse us, dear.
Now, Gracie.
Now, where do you get your hair done, Dorothy?
Never mind that. There's something rotten in Denmark.
Well, I should think so with all those Nazis there.
You know what I mean. And now that I've seen George, the whole deal's off, Gracie. No canteen and no picture.
But, Dorothy, he's a 7. If you don't use him, you'll have to give up numerology.
And if I do, I'll have to give up pictures. Goodbye, Gracie.
Time for Felix Mills and the orchestra and the old favorite, Swinging Down the Lane. Well, George doesn't know that Dorothy Lamour has changed her mind about singing with him, and he is now at the canteen rehearsing their duet. Outside his dressing room door stands a worried Gracie. She is seeking advice from a handsome man, a man who is both wise and understanding, despite his extreme youth and good looks.
What shall I do, Bill?
Well, gee, I don't know, Gracie. Why not just walk in and tell him?
Oh, no, I can't do that. You see, George is not like other men. He's sensitive and high-strung, like a fine pedigreed Pekingese.
Well, there is a resemblance, yes. To a Pekingese, I think.
The shock might make him do something drastic. Why, he's liable to run right down to the ocean and throw himself on the beach and cry all night.
We wouldn't want that to happen.
No, and he's so happy now. I just can't stand to tell him. It would break his poor little heart.
Yeah, I guess it will.
Oh, just think of George. His head hanging, his shoulders drooping, his chest sagging, his footsteps heavy as lead.
Yeah, and then think of him after he hears the bad news.
Oh, I know, Bill.
What?
Maybe I can talk George out of working with Dorothy.
Yeah?
That'll save his pride.
Well, you think you can do it, Gracie?
Well, I can try. You wait here.
The night is young, the skies are clear, and if you want to go walking, dear, it's delightful, it's
Hello,
delicious
dear.
here. Hello, dear. Gee, my voice sounds richer and deeper than ever tonight. I can hardly believe it's me singing unless I look in the mirror and see my mouth open.
Well, close it and come on home.
But I haven't done my duet with Dorothy yet. Now go away and let me rehearse. The night is young, the skies
See?
are...
I'm already the forgotten woman.
You're the what?
The forgotten woman. The wife of a big star who goes up and up and up, while his forgotten wife goes down and down and down.
Look, Gracie.
Oh, your public will take you away from me. Lonesomeness will drive me down and down until I'm just a shell. A beautiful husk who's lost her corn.
Listen, dear.
You go up and up and up, and I'll go down and down and down.
Honey, you
I'll sink lower and lower and become coarser and coarser until I reach the gutter.
see... Oh, honey, you could never do that.
Gutter butt, Mac.
Gracie, what's eating you?
Oh, all right. You may as well know the truth. I'm afraid that you and Dorothy will fall madly in love.
That's silly.
How is it? Listen, George, when the lighted match of her charm is dropped into the gas tank of your personality, there's got to be an explosion.
This is ridiculous. Now run along and let me rehearse.
You won't come home with me?
No.
Very well, dear.
Oh.
Any luck, Gracie?
Oh, no. We've got to get Dorothy to change her mind. Bill, do you think you would get any place with Dorothy Lamour?
Well, it'll be fun trying.
Oh, good. Now, there's her dressing room. See what you can persuade her to do.
Yeah, man.
Come in.
Excuse me, Miss Lamour. Gracie wants me to talk to you about George.
Nothing doing. I found out that George isn't a number 7 at all. He faked the middle initial K just to make him a 7.
What a dirty trick.
Yes. Say, you're kind of handsome. What's your name?
Bill K. Goodwin?
Bill K. Goodwin?
Uh-huh.
Why, you're a real number 7.
Well, my friends call me Sev for short.
You might do as the lead in a South Sea Island picture. Can you act?
Can I act? Dottie, get a load of this. Oh, oonga boonga. You, Dottie. Me, Bill. Me give you big bar swan soap.
What's that supposed to be? Pigeon English?
No, that's swan English, Dottie. You see, Swan, the white floating soap, is 4 soaps in one. The soap for your hands and face, for bathing the baby, and for dishes and light laundry. 4 swell soaps in one.
Do you want to be my leading man or my laundry man?
Huh? Oh, you're leading man, Dottie. And what a picture it'll be. Just picture us in the quiet of the tropical night, listening to the gurgle and splash of the water.
We're on the beach.
No, we're bathing the baby with Swan.
Where did that come from?
The Swan? Oh, I brought that with me. Swan's great for bathing babies. It's as pure as fine Castiles, and a baby's soap must be mild. Swan's as mild and gentle as a baby's kiss. And if Swan's that good, well, it must be terrific.
You're nutty. But you're cute. Say, by the way, can you sing?
Oh, can I sing, Dottie? Just picture me in a leopard skin, will you? Singing the Hawaiian war chant. Take a cake of swan and break a cake of swan in two. Half you put into the bathroom for your hands and face, and the other half in your kitchen sink. Komamahi Lever Brothers. Oh, wait, hey.
Hey, cut it out. Cut it out.
What's the matter, Dottie?
Well, you're supposed to be my tropical lover, and all you talk about is swan. Do I remind you of a swan or something?
Well, you both have a beautiful neck.
Well, it looks like that's more than we're going to have.
Oh. Well, let's make up for lost time. Come here, Dottie.
Why, you curly-headed wolf.
Well, Bill, did you accomplish anything?
That I did, Gracie.
Well, Dorothy, are you going to sing the duet with George?
Sure, Gracie, I'll do it for you.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for such a cute leading man.
Oh, is he going to be your leading man?
Sure. He's a little wolfish, but he's cute.
Wolfish?
And how? We hadn't been alone 2 minutes till he kissed me.
Oh, my goodness, I was afraid this might happen.
What?
Oh, your match has dropped into his gas tank. Oh, excuse me, Dorothy. Oh, dear, which shall it be, a career for George or a husband for me? Oh, a husband for me. I'll kick his career right out the window.
The night is young, the skies are clear.
George, do you still insist on singing that duet with Dorothy?
Certainly.
Oh, well, all right. Let me have that arrangement you're going to do. I want to make a few changes in it.
Okay, here, but hurry. It's almost time for the number.
Thank you, boys. It's nice to be at the canteen again. And now I'd like to introduce a new singing team, Dorothy Lamour and Sugarthroat Burns. They will sing a song which has just been especially arranged by me.
The night is young, the skies are clear, and if you want to go walking, dear, it's delightful, it's delicious, it's lovely. I understand the reason why you're sentimental, 'cause so am I. It's delightful, it's delicious, it's lovely. You can tell at a glance what a swell night this is for romance. You can hear dear Mother Nature murmuring low.
Oh.
Let yourself go softly, sweet, sweet, my chickadee. And when I kiss you, just say to me, it's delightful, it's delicious, it's delectable, it's delirious, it's dilemma, it's limit, it's it's de-lovely.
Gracie, what did you do to me? That'll finish my career.
Yeah, I know. Come along, dear. You're my gas tank, and we'll use my matches.
I'm confused.
George and Gracie will be right back, so I've only a few seconds to remind you that whether you're a pin-up girl or a grandmother, your complexion deserves the purest, mildest soap that money can buy. You want a soap that's pure as fine Castiles? You want Swan. You want a soap that's so mild it's kind to even a baby's tender skin? Again, you want Swan. Yes, and you want a soap that'll give you a thick, rich lather at the touch of a hand. So, sister, you really want Swan. And when you get Swan, remember, it's also great for the baby and perfect for dishes and light laundry. So put your wartime pennies on a 4-time winner, the new white floating soap, Swan. Now here again are George and Gracie.
Well, Gracie, I've got a big thrill for you.
Yeah, what is it?
Next week, our guest star will be Alan Ladd.
Oh. Really?
Well, aren't you thrilled? Well, gee, Gracie, he thrills all the women.
Well, dear, they're not married to you.
Oh, good night.
Our guest tonight, Dorothy Lamour, will be seen shortly in the Paramount picture And the Angels Sing. The makers of Swan, the new white floating soap, join George and Gracie, inviting you to tune into your Columbia station again next Tuesday, same time. Our guest, Alan Ladd. The following week, Paul Lucas. Remember, George Burns, Gracie Allen, CBS next Tuesday night. Now, till next Tuesday, this is Bill Goodwin saying, well, I, Swan, how about you? This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
I think I sing as well as George did in that. February 29, 1944, 80 years ago, George Burns, Gracie Allen with their guest, Dorothy Lamour. Now, on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, a reminder that on our Friday show full of crime, we'll have episodes of Dragnet, Barry Craig Confidential Investigator, Suspense, and The Screaming Woman, Quiet Please, and Captain Midnight. That's all coming up on our next Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next here, we'll have an episode of Nick Carter starring Lon Clark from 76 years ago.
Spring is nearly here, and many of our listeners will be getting out their gardening tools, their overalls or shorts to again try their hands at raising their own vegetables. For most of us, gardening is an enjoyable hobby, and it certainly is a great thrill to see the results of your work come out of the ground right before your eyes. In other lands, many people will also be watching their spring planting grow. CARE, the Cooperative for American Remittances to Europe, proposes to help meet that need with their new vegetable seed package. It contains 28 varieties of vegetables. In order for families in Europe to start planting, you should order the CARE seed package right away. Total cost, with delivery guaranteed, is $4. Send your orders to Nonprofit CARE, 50 Broad Street, New York, and help a family help themselves.
And you can find out more by going to care.org, care.org. And while you're on the internet, visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Now, Nick Carter, a fictional character, began as a dime novel private detective in 1886, and for more than a century, all over the media, in literature, and also, as we mentioned, on the radio. And some films as well. Nick Carter, Walter Pidgeon played Nick Carter in a trilogy of films released by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer between 1939 and 1940. And William Powell played Nick Charles in a 1944 film. Now, as we mentioned in radio, Nick Carter, Master Detective with Lon Clark, running on Mutual from 1943 to 1955. And so we'll hear an episode today of Nick Carter starring Lon Clark, as it was broadcast on February 29th, 1948, 76 years ago, the case of the boy who got lost.
New post-war Old Dutch cleanser, famous for chasing dirt, presents Nick Carter, famous for chasing crime. Every week at this time, two great names are joined, as new post-war Old Dutch cleanser brings you one of the most resourceful and daring characters in all detective fiction, Nick Carter, Master Detective.
Hello?
Hello, Patsy. How soon can you meet me?
Well, right away, Nick. What's the matter?
We've got a job of extricating to do.
Extricating?
Yes, there's been a murder. And right smack in the middle of it, up to his neck, is a 16-year-old boy.
Now for the case of the boy who got lost. Today's adventure starring Lon Clark as Nick Carter. It is early evening, and in the back room of a slum district pool room, two men, Stan Powers and Crow Jackson, are in the midst of a business conference with Billy Turner, a 16-year-old boy, when...
Hey, Billy. What do you want, fella?
I want Billy.
He's busy. Now beat it.
Get your coat, Billy. We're going home.
Say, maybe you didn't hear what I said.
Take it easy, Crow. This guy's my big brother.
Huh?
Yeah, how'd you find out about this joint, Roy?
I followed you. I promised Mom I'd find out where you've been going every night and bring you home.
I don't take orders from you.
Now, look, kid. I don't want to get tough.
Suppose you do, Roy. What do you think that'll get you?
What was that, Mr. Powers? A threat?
Oh, you know me, huh?
Yeah. And I know all about you, too.
Uh-huh. Close the door, Crow. Okay, Stan.
What do you know about me, Roy?
You've been in jail a couple of times.
Is that all?
Your pool room's a hangout for crooks and gangsters. And kids that's gone wrong.
Listen, Roy, if you're talking about
Shut up,
me...
Billy. I'll handle this. Crow, this guy goes out.
Okay, Stan.
Look out, Roy. Oh! Oh. Crow, you killed him.
With this blackjack? Relax, kid. He's just taking a nap. He'll be okay.
You shouldn't have hit him, Crow. He thought he was doing me a favor.
He was butting in.
I know, Stan, but
Look, Billy, I thought you wanted a crack at the big time.
Well, I do. No more of them tin horn jobs on little candy stores for me.
Okay. That's why I picked you to go along with us on this job tonight.
Well, sure, Stan. I know.
Then relax, kid. Have a smoke?
Yeah. Thanks, Stan. Here, I'll give you a light.
Sure.
Oh. That's Roy, Stan.
He's coming, too. Get into the closet, Billy.
What for?
Get in there. I don't want him to see you.
Oh, sure.
Oh. What do we do with this guy, Stan?
Nothing.
We don't knock him off?
No, Crow. He's got nothing on us.
Where's Billy?
He went home, Buster.
Home?
Yeah, that's right. He didn't want to be around when you came, too. He's afraid of his big brother.
You're kidding me.
All you've got to do is go home and check. You don't see him here, do you? Sure. Go ahead, look around. And you can check the pool room on your way out. Help him up, Crow. The man's going home.
Why didn't you come to me last night, Roy, instead of waiting until this morning?
Well, I didn't think about it. I thought maybe Billy did leave the pool room, and maybe he was stalling someplace. Afraid to come home because of the beating Crow gave me.
You wouldn't have stayed out all night.
Oh, well, don't I know it.
Well?
Listen, Mr. Carter, I'm going to tell you something. Last night, when Billy didn't show up by 12 o'clock, Mom couldn't stand it anymore. So I went out to look for him. I went back to the...
Morning, Nick.
Oh, hello, Patsy.
Hello, Roy. I'm glad to see you.
Oh, thanks, Miss Bowen.
Well, some excitement last night, wasn't there?
What do you mean?
A big holdup on 9th Street, the big supermarket. They got away with $7,000.
Have the police...
Go ahead, Roy. Have the police what?
Have they found out about Stan Powers?
What about him?
He was murdered.
What's that?
That's what I started to tell you, Mr. Carter. When I went back to the pool room to look for Billy, I went into the back room. Mr. Powers was on the floor with a knife in his back.
With a knife? Well, didn't you report that to the police?
Well, I was afraid, Mr. Carter. All I could see in my mind was Billy mixed up in a killing. The police come into our house to ask a lot of questions. Mom.
Roy, do you think Billy did it?
No, I know he didn't. At least I don't think...
All right, then. Come on, Patsy. We're going down to Stan Powers' pool room.
I'm going with you, Mr. Carter.
No, you stay right here, Roy. I'll bring you back a full report as soon as I find out what's what.
Yeah, the porter found Powers, Nick. He came in to clean up about an hour ago, and boom.
What time was he killed, Matty?
Coroner said between 11 and 1 o'clock last night.
Uh-huh.
Any idea what the motive might have been?
Yeah, Patsy, we think it was a double cross.
Oh?
We found these slips of paper on the floor.
Cash register receipt. From the 9th Street supermarket.
Right. The job was pulled by Stan Powers and his gang. These receipts prove it.
Oh, but why should Stan Powers have been murdered?
That open safe should tell you why, Patsy.
Huh? Oh, I didn't notice it, Nick.
Those crooks got away with $7,000 last night, but there ain't a nickel in that safe or on Stan Powers. Now, Nick, somebody...
Somebody, one of Stan's gang probably, wanted that money and killed Stan to get it.
Right.
Mind if I look at the body?
Do what you like, Nick, but make it snappy. The boys from the morgue will be here any minute to take it away.
Hey, Matty, come here.
Yeah, what's the matter?
Take a good look at the handle of this knife. The one that did the killing.
I already did. It's a horn-handled knife, and there's white powder in some of the hollows.
Well, what do you suppose it is?
Looks to me like it's face powder, Patsy.
What? And you think that a woman?
Sure I do.
No, not so fast, Matty.
Huh?
Men use powder after shaving.
Huh? Oh, yeah. That's right. But look, Nick, I still think this is the kind of powder a woman uses. That it was on her hand when she used that knife. And, look here. Take a look at this cigarette lighter.
Well, what about it?
We found it on the floor near Stan's body.
Billy.
What'd you say, Nick?
Said Billy. The name engraved on this lighter.
Oh, good heavens.
Now, look, Nick, I ask you, would a mug be seen with a dainty little lighter like this?
Well, that's a good point, Matty.
So I figure Billy could be a woman's name.
Do you?
It could be, Nick.
Yes, it could be. Come on, Betsy.
Right with you.
Hey, what's the rush?
It's only 299 days to Christmas, Matty. We've got some shopping to do.
Well, I'll be...
Nick, do you think that cigarette lighter belongs to Billy Turner?
I'll let you know after I phone to Roy at the office.
Okay. Oh, there's a phone booth over there.
No, Patsy. I want to use a phone that's not too close to the scene of this murder.
Hello? This is Nick Carter's office.
Roy, this is Nick.
Mr. Carter, what'd you find?
Roy, tell me, did Billy own a cigarette lighter?
Yeah.
Describe it.
Well, it looked like it was made of silver, and it was small and pretty fancy. He left it on the table once in the house. I asked him where he got it.
Was his name engraved on it?
Yeah, why, Mr. Carter?
The police found it in Stan's office near Stan's body.
What?
Didn't you see it there last night?
No, do you think I'd have left it there if I did? I saw the guy on the floor dead, so I beat it. Look, Mr. Are the cops saying Billy killed Stan Powers?
No, not yet. They're looking for someone else. Now tell me, did Billy own a horn-handled jackknife?
No.
Are you sure?
Well, I'd have seen it if he had one, Mr. Carter.
All right. Now, what can you tell me about Crow?
Well, not much. He was about my height, 5'11". He had black hair and a dirty complexion.
You know his real name? Did Stan or Billy mention it?
No, they just called him Crow.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. In the meantime, stay in my office. Goodbye.
Well, Nick?
That lighter belongs to Billy, all right.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, the police will trace it as sure as we're standing here, and that'll lead them directly to Billy.
Nick, are we going to look for Billy, too?
No, right now I'm more interested in the powder on the handle of that knife than a guy named Crow.
Nick sets out to find a man called Crow and learn the meaning of some white powder on a knife handle. Meanwhile, Matty and the police are tracing a cigarette lighter that will surely lead them to Billy Turner. We'll see what happens next in just a moment. Now, back to the case of the boy who got lost. Today's adventure with Nick Carter. Nick Carter and Patsy Bowen, faced with the possibility that Billy Turner, a 16-year-old boy, may be implicated in the knife murder of Stan Powers, a gang leader, are trying desperately to run down the identity of Crow, the dead man's lieutenant, and to solve the riddle of the white powder on the handle of the murder knife. In the meantime, in Crow's apartment near the center of town, Billy is having trouble.
Just let me call my mom, Crow. I won't tell her where I am.
Listen, kid, I'm doing this for your own good. So get down through your thick head and shut up.
But I ain't been home since last night. Mom'll be worried sick.
You're a pain in the neck. Maybe I ought to let you go altogether. Let the cops pick you up.
But I didn't kill Stan.
Stop kidding, will you?
I forgot my lighter and I went back for it. When I got there, Stan was lying on the floor, dead.
Sure.
I didn't kill him, I tell you.
I caught you bending over him, didn't I?
I told you, Crow. I was looking to see if he was dead.
Look, Billy, I'm your pal. You don't have to lie to me.
Why should I kill Stan?
There's a lot of dough in Stan's office last night. Maybe you was planning on getting it for yourself.
You're nuts. I never went near that safe.
That's because I walked in on you.
I didn't have to swipe the dough. We were going to split that $7,000 in a couple of days.
There was more than $7,000 in that safe. There was another $3,500. You wanted that too, didn't you?
Hey, how do you know how much Stan had in his safe?
Huh?
Yeah, how come you know all about that?
What are you getting at, kid?
You killed Stan. You did it.
Now, wait a minute.
Oh, I'm getting out of here.
Oh, no, you're not.
Let go of me, Crow.
Save your breath, cowboy. I got a reason for keeping you here, and it ain't because I like you.
Why don't you let me go?
If the cops pick you up, you get stretched for murder. And you talk. You're only a kid. You tell the cops about me and the other guys being in on the job at the supermarket. That makes me a 4-time loser, and I go up for life.
No, nobody can make me talk.
Nobody's going to get the chance. I protect you, and that way I'm protecting myself.
I don't need protection from nobody except you.
Why, you little punk.
Ow! Oh, what's the idea?
You've got to learn to appreciate your pals, kid.
Slapping me around ain't going to change nothing.
Look, I ought to... I'll answer that, kid. Okay, answer it. Yeah? Talking. What? They know anything else? Okay, tell the guys not to worry. They'll never get him. Yeah, you can take my word for it. That was bad news, Billy.
What do you mean?
Your name's in all the newspapers.
What are you giving me, Crow?
The cops have got your cigarette lighter.
They got my lighter?
Yeah, they found it near Stan's body. They're looking for the owner.
Gee, they'll say I killed Stan.
I can't let them pick you up, Billy. We gotta find another hideout.
Well, what am I gonna do?
Don't worry, kid. They'll never find you. Never.
Nick, you must have questioned 100 people trying to find out about that guy, Crow.
Yeah, at least 100.
And nobody admitted he even heard of him.
Well, maybe Matty will be able to tell us.
Well, if he can't, perhaps somebody else here at police headquarters can.
Seems to be our only chance.
True.
Oh, never mind. Here they are now. I've just been trying to get you, Nick.
What's on your mind, Matty?
We traced that cigarette letter.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah. A lot easier than we thought. Bought in a store on the west side.
Oh. Well, at least I'm glad it was bought.
You're not going to like this, Nick, but we've got a warrant out for the arrest of Billy Turner.
Oh, but, Sergeant, he's only 16.
16 or 60. Murder is murder, Patsy.
Oh.
I'm sorry about it, Nick. I found out he's the brother of Roy Turner, one of the kids in your boys' club.
Oh, then you've been to his home.
Yeah, I talked to their mother.
Oh, that poor woman.
Well, I guess she had to know sooner or later.
I suppose so, but... Oh, why would Billy want to kill Stan?
All I know is that the safe was open and that the $7,000 that gang took from the supermarket is gone.
But, Matty, that doesn't
If
prove
you
it.
ask me, Nick, we'll find that the guy who killed Stan and took the dough is Billy Turner.
Maybe. Oh, by the way, Matty, I found out what that white powder was.
Yeah?
A little chemical analysis reveals that it's common, ordinary flour.
The kind you make bread with.
Oh, you're nuts, Nick. Why should there be flour on the handle of that knife?
Well, it's a question I can't answer yet, but that's what it is.
Now, look, don't tell me Billy Turner is a baker as well as a crook.
Billy's no crook, Sergeant. Even I can see that.
Well, I can't.
Hey, Matty, what do you know about a man named Crow?
Crow? Crow who?
If I knew that, I'd be on my way to meet him.
Now, look, what's he got to do with this
He was a
case?
member of Stan's gang, and Roy Turner saw him in Stan's office last night.
Nick, have you been holding out on me? What was Roy doing there?
Trying to get Billy to go home with him. Crow knocked him out with a blackjack.
He blacked out Roy?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me this before, Nick?
Well, does it matter much?
Well, I'll say it does. Crow.
That name must
Crow.
mean something to you, Matty.
Why don't you ask me to remember a guy named Joe? Might be a lot easier.
All right.
Crow.
I thought we'd be saving time by asking you, but now I guess I'll have to get Roy down here for a look at the rogues gallery.
If he saw the guy face to face, he ought to be able to pick him out.
Oh, but that'll take hours.
I know it. It may save Billy Turner a lot of years if he happens to be innocent.
That's him, Mr. Carter. This is a picture of Crow.
Oh, and I was just beginning to give up hope.
Roy, you're sure this is Crow?
Yeah, I'd know him any place.
Well, Matty?
This character is Philip Jackson, alias Jack Phillips, alias Crow Jackson.
And he's the guy who killed Stan Powers.
Hey, wait a minute, Roy. How do you know that?
Well, because he tried to kill me. Isn't that enough?
No. You went to Stan's place to get Billy, didn't you?
You told him, Mr. Carter.
I had to, Roy.
All right. I went there, but Billy wouldn't come home with me.
Uh-huh.
I had an argument with Stan, and then...
Then you went out like a light.
Well, Crow came at me from behind. I never had a chance.
Hey. Maybe you got a motive for killing Stan, Roy.
Me?
Now, look here, Matty.
Why not, Nick? He found out that Stan was making a crook out of his kid brother. He couldn't get Billy to quit the gang.
So he killed Stan and framed Billy? Is that your logic, Matty?
No. He just didn't notice his kid brother's lighter.
Oh, you're nuts.
Now, take it easy, Roy. Listen, Matty, I want you and this picture of Crow to take a trip with me.
Yeah, where to?
Down to the supermarket. I'd like the manager to see this picture. Then you may have a reason to go after Crow for armed robbery, at least.
Okay, but this boy stays here.
Is he under arrest, Sergeant?
Not yet, Patsy, but I want to know where he is. If I happen to need him. right, mister. Is the man in this picture one of the guys that held up this market last night?
Well, I think so, officer.
Well, can't you be sure?
Oh, I'd be plenty sure, miss, if the color of his hair was different.
Color of his hair? You mean it wasn't black?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. It was white.
That's it, Matty. That's why there was flour on the knife handle.
Come again?
He didn't have a knife. He had a gun.
No, we're talking about another crime, Mr. Jones, and thanks very much. You've been of great help. Goodbye.
I don't understand it. We get held up.
Well, all we've got to do now is to get Crow Jackson, or whatever other name he might be using this week.
Nick, what's this about you know why there was flour on the handle of that knife?
Matty, flour is much better than face powder for making black hair look white. It sticks better.
Why, sure. Crow used it as a disguise.
Well, right. And it's going to land him in the hot seat.
If we ever find him.
Matty ought to know where to look for him.
Now, look, Nick, I don't carry every crook's address around in my notebook.
Maybe not, but the probation department does.
Yeah, you're right. I was just going to phone.
Yeah. That's the spirit, Matty. You arrest Crow for robbery, and I'll see that he's convicted for murder.
Seems as though Crow's playing hard to get Nick.
Well, it's only a door, and we've got a warrant. Come on, Matty. We need muscles.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Hey, nobody's here.
We should have known that a guy with a murder rap staring him in the face would lay him out of here.
Well, just the same, I want to take
Look, Nick, I'll get out of general alarm.
Wait a minute. I want to look around.
But what for?
Well, you never can tell what you'll find.
Okay, but if you think...
Now, wait a minute. Wait, look. 2 people were in this room, and they left only a few minutes before we got here.
Brother, I've seen you pull some rabbits out of a hat, but now you're trying... Look, I'm calling headquarters.
Matty, look at that cigarette in the ashtray.
Huh? Why, it's still smoldering.
Okay, Nick. How do you figure there were 2 people here?
Because there are 2 different brands of cigarettes in the ashtray.
Yeah.
And Billy Turner smoked one of them.
Oh, but Nick, you don't know what brand Billy smoked.
Don't have to know that.
What do you mean?
Look here. At the underside of this half-smoked cigarette.
Huh? Why, somebody wrote Billy on it in pencil.
Then it was Billy who was here with Crow.
Yeah, it looks that way. Now, wait a minute. Wonder what this is. Here on the table.
Crow probably left his forwarding address.
No, he didn't, but somebody left this drawing here.
It's sure a funny kind of drawing, if you ask me.
It's doodling, if you ask me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, look at this odd-shaped figure here, Matty, and this thing inside it. Could it be somebody's idea of a tree?
And look at this other figure, Nick. A circle with a swirl inside.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that odd-shaped figure could be a tree on an island.
Of course. And the circle... Matty, this is a message.
Nuts.
This drawing, the one you call doodling, will never win an art cast, no, but it tells me exactly where Crow and Billy went.
I'm tired, Crow. I gotta rest for a minute.
Keep rowing, kid. You'll have plenty of time to rest later.
You think the cops got to your apartment by now?
If your wise guy brother told them about me, they have. I should have knocked him off.
He was only trying to help me, Crow.
Give him more with the left oar, kid.
Huh?
The left oar.
Pretty dark, but we're heading for the island the way we're going.
We're making a detour, Billy.
If I do like you say, we'll head right into the whirlpool.
You catch on, kid. And that's where you get off.
Oh, you ain't planning to run...
That's right, kid. The cops will find you floating around in a couple of days, and they'll close the books.
Huh?
They'll say you couldn't face a murder rap.
Oh, I knew you was dirty, Crow.
Go ahead, kid, and row. I'll tell you when to jump.
You'll tell me nothing, wise guy. If I drown, you drown with me. I got the oars, see?
And I got this blackjack here, Billy.
Why, you lousy...
It's a dark night, and we're out here in the middle of the channel. Nobody can see us. So it looks like you go overboard when I say so. Get it?
Billy Turner heads toward death in the channel, and no one to whom he can call for help is within hearing distance. We'll see what happens next in just a minute. Now for the conclusion of the case of the boy who got lost. Today's adventure with Nick Carter. It is a few minutes later, and Nick, Patsy, and Matty are in a boat or police launch heading toward the island, their eyes fixed on the water, which is lighted by the boat's searchlight.
Keep that searchlight moving, Matty. Yeah, he must be here somewhere.
There's the island up ahead, Nick. But I don't see them. They must have used a motorboat.
It'd have to be a fast one, Patsy. They couldn't have been more than a few minutes ahead of us.
Hey, you sure this is the right place, Nick?
Do you know of any other whirlpool around here?
Well, no, but there could be one, maybe.
You know of any other island shaped like the drawing Billy left?
Well, no, I don't, Nick. But that doesn't mean there ain't one.
Well, when you put the island and the whirlpool together, you have to admit, sir.
Okay. You win. This must be the place.
Come on, Matty. Can't you get a little more life into this tub?
Look, she's riding at top speed now, Nick. After all, she ain't a...
What?
Hey, come on, you let her up. We'll find out.
Yeah, sure.
Nick, that must be them. There, in that rowboat.
Yeah, there are 2 men in it.
And they're fighting.
Speed it up, Matty. That rowboat's moving toward the whirlpool.
I'll try, Nick.
Nick, they've stopped fighting. And one of them's got a gun. And he's aiming.
Oh, so he wants to play, huh?
Well, that's what it looks like.
Hey, Nick, take the wheel. This is a game two can play at.
I got it, Matty.
He sure is a lousy shot.
Yeah, because the searchlight's in his eye.
Well, I'll give this cookie a lesson in how to shoot.
You hit him. He's down.
Good shooting, Matty. Only hope he's alive when we get our hands on him.
The idea of Crow taking Billy out to drown him in the whirlpool. What some people won't do for an alibi.
Yeah, Patsy, but it's all wasted motion. After Crow gets out of the hospital, he's going to stand trial for murder. And after that...
He'll never need money again. That $10,000 the police found stuffed in his pocket should be enough to convict him.
Yep, that and the flour particles we found on the inside of his coat and on his shirt collar.
Right. Oh, what do you think will happen to Billy?
Well, he admitted taking part in the supermarket holdup and a few others. Afraid Billy is going away for a while.
It's a shame, too. A 16-year-old kid.
Well, Patsy, I've got an idea that Billy won't be gone too long. And when he comes back, he's going to feel the way his brother Roy does about what's right and what's wrong.
I hope so.
You wait and see. We'll have him in the boys' club yet.
Well, there you have it. From 76 years ago, February 29th, 1948, Nick Carter, Master Detective. Hopefully I'll have some more Nick Carter shows coming up, hopefully a little better quality than that. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow, Suspense, Dragnet, Barry Craig, Confidential Investigator, Quiet Please, and Captain Midnight. But coming up next, X-1.
What are your dreams for 10 years from now? Perhaps you'd like to travel abroad. In 10 years, comfortable tourist accommodations will certainly be available. This also applies if your travel plans are along the lines of see America first. If you're wondering how you can be sure of having the money at that time, buy savings bonds. Perhaps you haven't been considering travel. Well, if you've been counting on future leisure time or a college education for your children, a farm or business of your own, a retirement income or a home of your own, the solution is still the same. Buy savings bonds. Purchase them the easy, automatic way, where you work through the payroll savings plan, where you bank through the bond-a-month plan. Savings bonds are profitable. For every $3 invested today, you'll receive $4 when your bonds mature. So buy United States savings bonds through the payroll savings plan or bond-a-month plan. And remember, automatic saving is sure saving.
And apologies if we've run a little long today, but I think you'll enjoy this episode of X-1. 68 years ago, February 29, 1956, Hello Tomorrow.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, everything from famous criminals to accidents in the home will be covered tomorrow when the staff of NBC's Weekday brings you another day of informative and entertaining listening. And back again to greet you as new hostess is charming Virginia Graham, well loved by every radio and television fan. There'll be big guest stars, too, headliners in every field. Mel Torme, singing sensation, Gladys Cooper, prominent Broadway actress, and many others. Treat yourself to the best daytime entertainment with NBC's Weekday tomorrow. And now, stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, Hello Tomorrow. After the third atomic war, when the Earth was a mass of red radioactive dust, a handful of men and women went deep underground in the struggle for survival. A new civilization was built deep underground, a civilization which must keep a ceaseless vigil against the deadly gamma rays which filter down through the Earth. A civilization where the prime consideration is the genetic survival of the race. It is to this civilization in the year of our Lord, 4195, that we take you now.
Professor Lois Burton?
Yes.
I have a call from the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong. Go ahead, sir. Hello, darling.
Hello, dear. How is the Director of Emotional Stability? My, how impressive that sounds.
Don't joke, dear. You never know who may be listening.
Sorry. How are you? You sound tired.
Well, we've had some bad cases. Mostly frantic mothers who insist on imparting their feelings to children. I suspect it's chromosomes affected by gamma ray leakage from the surface, but the head of the psychotechnic division says they're glandular cases. But that isn't why I called. I have good news.
What is it?
The genetic board has approved our application for marriage.
So soon?
Our chromosomes tested perfect. We can marry any time we want. As a geneticist, you should know that our offspring should be 90 percentile of perfection.
I know.
What's the matter? You are happy about it, aren't you?
Of course. Terribly happy.
I'm coming right over to the lab.
You'll have to give me some time.
What's the trouble?
No trouble. You know that genetic survey I've been working on?
What about it?
Well, I've finally gotten permission to study an actual living case, a specimen of imperfect genetic transmission.
Really?
They're bringing him, or it, up from the condemned cages on the lower level.
You will be careful.
There's nothing to be afraid of. The specimen is XJ12. It's been studied before many times and is quite well trained. Oh, there's my door signal. I'll have to hang up, darling. See you later. Yes?
Professor Burton?
Yes.
I'm from the Phylogenic Institute.
Oh, you brought my specimen?
May I come in?
By all means. Oh, how...
Horrible? It all depends on your viewpoint. I happen to have a twisted leg. My parents were genetically unsound.
But then you...
Yes, I am specimen XJ12.
I see.
I hope you aren't shocked.
No stable person permits feelings to enter into his work. I will admit to surprise. I was expecting something a little more abnormal.
Well, I try to be as abnormal as possible. It pays off. The Phylogenic Institute allows me out of the genetic cages ever so often so I can breathe the pure air of the upper levels and mingle with the genetically perfect.
You seem quite well educated.
I spent the first years of my life here in the upper levels.
How is that possible?
As a small child, my mother concealed me from the director of heredity. My mother actually, dreadful word, loved me.
That would explain your obviously low threshold of emotional control.
If you choose to call it that. You seem to be struggling to repress a few feelings yourself.
We will confine ourselves to the impersonal aspects of our work.
As you please.
I shall require you as a demonstration for a lecture I'm delivering to one of my classes tomorrow.
At your service.
Sit here, please. Grip these electrodes tightly. I'm going to calibrate your electrochemical tension.
I'm quite familiar with the procedure. I realize that as an imperfect, I am expendable, but I should hate to be electrocuted.
The charge is not lethal. Plus 15 surface tension.
You know, you have beautiful hair.
Plus 12 at a depth of 4 centimeters. My hair meets minimal requirements for the genetic code.
Lovely blue eyes. Crystal clear.
Plus 10 at 7 centimeters.
Pretty. A perfect woman. Lovely expressive hands. And a heart of stone. Like all the rest of you perfect survival types.
Shut up.
Oh, could it be you do have feelings?
I seem to sense an air of emotional tension.
It's nothing, dear. This is the specimen.
You, specimen. Tell this dolt who I am, Lois.
This is the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong. You will address him as Mr. Director.
Mr. Director.
This creature seems quite impertinent.
He's only a specimen, darling.
Well, use him and ship him back to the cages. He's probably radioactive.
Attention, attention. The next demonstration will be conducted by Professor Lois Burton of the Institute of Genetics. Her topic, the probability of radioactive damage in the chromosome heredity of imperfect non-survival types. Professor Burton.
As you know, most imperfects are destroyed at birth. However, those who, for one reason or another, manage to survive are segregated in cages on the lower level for study purposes. The specimen we have today has been trained to tell in his own words about the factors in his upbringing. You will have to forgive his immature emotional control factor. He is, as you can see, quite different. Specimen XJ12. You will proceed, please.
Thank you. My mother was a psychotechnician in the Fifth Oblong. My father was an historian specializing in the records of pre-atomic surface culture. In the earthquake of 2170, apparently some hard radiation filtered down through the tunnels and penetrated the Fifth Oblong. The effect on my hereditary factors is quite apparent in this twisted leg. My father taught me in the last days before he was executed that every human personality is born with certain inalienable natural rights. The rights to have feelings, the right to mature, and above all, the right to be different from every other living organism. Because it cannot be otherwise, I submit to you, distinguished students, that the attempt by this society to abridge these rights is a violation of nature. I submit that the imperfects, the mutants, those who are different, have as much right to exist and be free as you. And I say, break open the cages.
Stop him!
Give us back the right to be individuals.
Stop him!
Oh!
Perhaps that will teach you. Professor Burton, take this specimen back to your laboratory and confine him.
Hold still while I bandage your head.
Oh.
You'll be all right.
I suppose you detest me for getting you into trouble.
I don't detest you.
What?
I don't know why, but as you spoke, something began to stir in me.
Tell me what you feel. If I moved you, then I must have moved the others, some of them at least.
For some reason, I took pride in what you were doing, seeing you stand up against them. Why do you look at me like that?
I can't help it.
I wish you wouldn't. You're only an imperfect, you know. Please,
My name is Orrin.
Please.
Say it. Orrin.
Orrin.
Again.
Orrin.
Lois.
Orrin.
Lois.
How touching.
Walter.
I've been listening for some time.
Walter, how could you?
In my capacity as Director of Emotional Stability, it is my duty.
What are you going to do?
Specimen XJ12 will be disposed of quite systematically by the state. For the good of the state, for the good of the genetic code, and in the name of emotional stability.
Walter, I have to talk to you.
Go right ahead.
Walter, you mustn't destroy him.
The specimen? Why not?
He's emotionally unstable. You have to expect irrational behavior.
Aren't you forgetting something, my dear? That you were responding in much the same manner? Or had you forgotten? You see, I'm having him liquidated for your sake. He has an upsetting effect on you.
Then send him back to the cages. But don't kill him.
You speak of destroying an inferior creature as if it was something unethical.
Walter, please, for my sake.
I understand that you have entered a plea for postponement of marriage at the Records Bureau.
Yes. I was too upset to go through with it.
It came as a great disappointment to me.
I'm sorry.
I was hoping that, linked to a stable personality such as mine, you might settle down. If you were married to me, I might even be persuaded to send him back to the cages instead of having him destroyed. Think it over.
If I refuse?
The choice is yours. Well, my dear?
Perhaps you're right.
I am.
I suppose I ought to be rational about this. After all, he's an imperfect.
I'm glad you've come to your senses.
When can we be married?
Tomorrow, if you like.
The sooner the better.
Let me talk to the custodian, please. Hello. This is the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong. I would like you to cancel the execution of specimen XJ12. Turn him over to be remanded permanently to the genetic cages. You'd better go. I'll pick you up in, say, an hour, and we'll make plans. All right?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Hello. This is the Director of Emotional Stability again. I want you to cancel that last order. Proceed with the execution, but under conditions of absolute secrecy. No, don't use the lethal chamber. Take him through the upper level to the tunnels. Yes. Yes, I'll issue a pass for the radiation checkpoint.
Into the elevator. Very well.
Why are we going toward the surface? The cages are on the lower levels.
Radiation check.
They've never done that before.
New procedure. Walk.
Halt! You can't go beyond this point. There is radioactivity in the tunnels.
I have a pass from the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong. Special mission.
I'll open the airlock.
March inside. Turn around.
So this is how they get rid of the imperfects. Now, before you dispose of me...
Yes?
Help! Security! Security!
What is it? What's happened?
The prisoner struck me. He escaped into the tunnels.
He won't last long.
Can you go after him?
I could send a robot, but it isn't worth the trouble. There's no way back from the tunnels except through here. The only other direction he can go is toward the surface. And the closer he gets, the hotter the radiation. Now, I think you can consider your prisoner officially dead.
More wine?
No, thank you, Walter.
You look very beautiful, my dear. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
The wedding will be a small affair. The director of endocrine control, the chief of the security guard.
Walter.
Yes?
Was he returned to the cages?
Oh, now, why must you spoil it?
Was he, Walter?
Well, as a matter of fact, there was a little difficulty.
Difficulty?
Yes, you see, XJ-12 escaped.
How? Where?
He struck a guard and ran off into the tunnels.
The tunnels. But that's sure death.
He's free to return any time he chooses. Now, don't become upset, darling.
You planned it, didn't you, Walter?
Stability, darling, stability.
Stability, stability. Here's what I think of stability.
Halt! State your business.
I'm Professor Burton of the Genetic Institute.
You can't go into the tunnels, Professor.
You'll have to let me by. I'm the fiancée of the Director of Emotional Stability.
Oh, I suppose you're after the one who escaped?
Yes.
He's quite dangerous, I understand.
I'm well armed.
Wouldn't it be better to send a robot?
I'm quite capable of handling him. He was my subject.
All right, miss. It's your risk. Checkpoint.
This is the Director of Emotional Stability.
Yes, sir.
If Professor Burton tries to pass the checkpoint, I want her taken into custody.
Professor Burton just passed, sir. She said that...
idiot!
But, sir, she said that
I
she
don't
had...
care what she said. Stop her. Send robots after her. Get her back.
Yes, sir. At once, sir. Robot control. Checkpoint to robot control. Order out all televocal robots into the tunnels. Have them bring back any humans. This is a first priority order.
Orrin! 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 Orrin, where are you? Orrin.
Hello?
Orrin! It's Lois.
This way. Behind the rock.
Over here.
Oh, darling, darling.
Lois. Lois, why did you come here? It's suicide.
I had to. Oh, darling, are you all right?
So far.
You've got to turn back. Give yourself up.
They'll kill
You
me.
can't stay here. The radiation is +4 at this point. It gets worse as you approach the surface.
Lois, darling, go back.
What will you do?
I'm going ahead.
But you can't.
I can. I'm going to the surface.
It's certain death. Not even the robots can survive it.
Well, at least I'll be the first human in 1,100 years to see what the surface of the Earth looks like.
Come back with me.
No, Lois.
Then I'm going with you.
Lois.
Don't try to stop me, darling. There's nothing to go back to now. Nothing but Walter and emotional stability.
You really want to come with me?
Yes.
You know what it means.
I don't care.
My mother used to believe there was a life after death. A place called heaven.
We'll believe it, too.
Oh, no, Lois, I can't let you go.
Orrin, I love you. See, I know how to say it now.
Say it again.
Orrin, I love you.
What is that?
It sounds like... Orrin, it's a robot patrol. They're looking for us.
All right, come on. This way.
Orrin, wait.
It can't be much farther, darling.
The robots. They're coming. I can see their lights now.
Listen, they've stopped.
The lights are swinging round. Orrin, they see us.
Come on. Look, Lois, look ahead. You can see the lights reflecting from something.
It looks like a lead door.
Yes. Come on through. There must be some way to close it. Oh, yes, here.
Let me help.
Well, they won't get through that. It's solid lead.
Orrin, I feel so strange. Where are we?
I don't know.
Look, up there. A huge round light.
Lois.
Yes, Orrin.
Lois, that's Luna, the moon. We're on the surface.
How strange and red everything looks. How it glows.
It's the radioactivity.
Quiet and peaceful. And deadly.
Oh, hush, darling, hush. Sit here and rest a while.
Put your arm around me. Orrin, I'm afraid. Orrin, we're going to die.
Don't think about that. Just think about us. Alone. The first humans to stand on the surface of Earth in 1,100 years. That door must have been placed there by the last handful of survivors who went underground after the atomic wars.
And those other lights, the small ones, they must be stars. Orrin, I'm so tired.
Go to sleep, darling. Put your head on my shoulder and sleep.
Hold me, Orrin. Hold me very close. Orrin.
Hmm?
Orrin, wake up.
Hmm? What?
Look, it's light. The whole universe is light. Oh, Orrin, how beautiful. Look.
This must be the heaven my mother talked about.
See the plants? All green and fresh. And the birds. How strange they look.
Lois, this isn't heaven.
But we must be dead, Orrin. We should be dead. The radiation.
By all the laws of nature, yes.
By all the laws of nature. Orrin. Orrin, we're not dead. This is Earth. And we're alive. We're not going to die.
But, Lois, the radiation, it's present. You can see its effect.
Orrin, did you ever hear of geotropism?
I'm not a geneticist.
There is a natural law of adaptation by which an organism will try to adjust itself to its environment by changing. It's called geotropism, don't you see?
No.
All these generations we've been bombarded by radiation filtering down through the Earth. Each successive generation must have inherited some degree of immunity.
But...
Orrin, it can't hurt us. Don't you see? We're immune. We're probably the first generation to inherit sufficient immunity.
But, darling, if that's true, then we can transmit that immunity. We can pass it along to our children.
And they to their children. Come on. We'll have to find food and water.
The practical wife. Wait a minute.
What are you doing with that rock?
I want to scratch something on the outside of this lead door.
Lois and Orrin.
4195 A.D.
Hello, tomorrow.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy's science fiction magazine. It was an original story by George Lefferts, starring Jan Miner and John Larkin, and directed by Daniel Sutter. Next week, A Gun for Dinosaur by L. Sprague de Camp on X-1. This is the NBC Radio Network.
And yes, again, it's that Jan Miner, the one that played Madge in the Palmolive dishwashing commercials for so many years. X-1, 68 years ago, February 29th, 1956. Hello, tomorrow. Thanks for making us a part of your day here. Tomorrow, Suspense, Dragnet, Barry Craig Confidential Investigator, Quiet Please, and Captain Midnight. Stay with us and visit our webpage, classicradio.stream, and I'll see you on Friday here on Classic Radio Theater.